Okay, well, I hit the start streaming button. See if
So
we're streaming. There's this window.
I'll open it up on my computer just in case
Oh,
there's.
I see us.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah,
There we
there we
are.
are. Oh, there's an advertisement.
Okay.
My sound's off, right? No, it's
Nope.
not. Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to do the.
No double sound. Hi, people. I think there's like 4 of you, maybe. Um, I'm gonna really quick retweet my link to my channel in case any other Twitter people want to come on and watch this. Even with iTunes.
I don't know. iTunes just opens itself up sometimes. I think it's an invasive species. Okay. Are we doing the tweets?
Well, I'm trying to.
Hashtag draw and story time.
Hashtag stad.
Hashtag stad. Okay.
No, I don't do hashtag stad. That's dumb.
I think it's fun. Maybe it's fun. What's your Twitch?
My Twitch. Well, they're here. They already know what it is. Oh, you're gonna tweet it. Okay. My Twitch is twitch.tv/Mariah Currey with a EY because that's how you spell my name. And this guy here is
Whimsy Machine.
yeah.
WHIMSY Machine.
Yeah. And I'm gonna download this and then put it on YouTube later to go along with the other Storytime and Draw streams that I've done, that we've done.
And if you want to watch them in the future, now you know our Twitch URLs.
Well, I'm not 100% sure. I think my YouTube channel is probably youtube.com/Mariah Currey. I think that's how they work.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's us. Oh yeah, also, I got pink hair now. I didn't have that last time.
Hey, look at
that. Whoa! Me and my pink hair. Let me tweet that.
There you go, Kitten. Goodbye. Thank you for joining. Okay. This is the cool part of the stream
where we wait for people to show up
stuff.
or whatever.
Did you already tweet about it?
Yeah, I did tweet about it. I just tweeted about it like a second ago. I put my phone down. You're doing stuff you can't see. I didn't tag you though. I'm sorry about that. All right. Well, Taylor does his tweeting business. I guess I will, for posterity, talk about what our dumb show is. So I like doing the arts, and I like having him read to me while I do the arts. So this is Storytime and Draws. And today, if you read my webcomic, you're in for a special treat because I'm going to be digitally painting new pages. Because I made a big mistake and ran out of watercolor paper like 2 months ago and had to use the paper that I had because I didn't want to order new paper. So now I have to paint them digitally on my computer for a while. Maybe forever, I don't know, we'll see. It's not, I've got mixed feelings about the whole digital painting process. Because it's like, on the one hand, kind of easier in some regards, but I also don't necessarily like how it looks as much as I like how just doing the ink washes that I typically do. Yeah, how they look. Yeah. And if you don't know what my webcomic is, it's Rainy Day Dreams. You can find it at rainydaydreams.mariahcurrey.com. And you can support it at patreon.com/rainydaydreams. That'd be great if you did. You can get extra comics. You can read like 10 comics at one time, at the beginning of the month, before anybody else. And other stuff, like sometimes I do private streams. Usually I do private streams. Normally this would be a private stream, except that we haven't done a real stream in like 9 months, and I have a lot of work to do, so here we are.
Had a whole baby in that time.
We could have had a whole baby in that time. I'm really glad that we didn't.
Yeah. Probably wouldn't be doing the stream right now.
Maybe we could be doing it with a baby. That would be a thing. It'd be really hard to try to... Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to start opening up some pages.
Cool. I'm going to close Twitter. Twitter, I said it right the first time.
Oh, I'm sorry, Camille. I didn't text you. I just texted Twitter. Because I'm bad at remembering what I'm doing. Okay. I'm going to open up like 4 pages. Hopefully none of them... I should have previewed these to see if there were bad spoilers on them. I don't think there are. Most of this stuff you probably won't know what's happening anyway because it's...
You don't have the dialogue.
I don't have That's the other thing, is that he convinced me I shouldn't draw dialogue bubbles anymore. until I do them digitally, which it's actually a lot better, and I should have listened to them sooner. Is the moral of that story.
No, you do you. You do what process works best for you.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those decisions that you have to choose for yourself. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, so you know how I said I didn't have any capitals? I do. I don't think it matters, though.
You've
Because
got...
there's no capitals in URLs.
Yeah, there's no capitals in URLs. They'll be able to find you. If they want to find you.
Bop, 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 bop.
The dark of the night, Twitch will find you.
The dark of the night. Alright, Greg says, hey-o.
Hey-o, Gray, go.
Okay, so I'm going to leave that open so we can see chat. I'll probably read it out loud, but not type, so I'm not kind of going back and forth with it. And I'll begin reading Book of Wonder.
Yeah, Book of Wonder. You want to give a little overview of what this deal is with this Book of Wonder? Because I didn't know what it was until you told me.
Yeah, so the Book of Wonder by Lord Dunsany, famous Irish writer, subtitled A Chronicle of Little Adventures at the Edge of the World. This is the 7th book in a series that he wrote, and the 5th collection of short stories. It's a bunch of fantasy short stories that went on to inspire other fantasy writers like Tolkien, or also Ursula Le Guin, or any number of other fantasy authors of that time. It has a lot of weird sort of things that would later evolve into tropes. And most of his books are illustrated by the artist
Commonly known as Prince? No.
Sidney Syme. And Sidney Syme, the story goes, was lamenting that no editors ever give him work that he actually likes to illustrate. So Lord Dunsany was like, hey, I got an idea.
Hey, bro.
How about you just draw whatever you want, and then I'll write stories for them. So this is the first book in which he did that, where the artist went through and drew a bunch of pictures, and then he wrote his stories inspired by those pictures. And that is
super cool.
Yeah, I think that's really neat. So this is the Book of Wonder, dated 1915. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm already going. Come on.
Yeah.
Give me some story times.
Acknowledgements. My thanks are due to the editor of The Sketch for permission to reprint here 12 of these tales, which, as the episodes from the Book of Wonder, were printed in his columns. Many were abbreviated to suit the exigencies of the paper, and are here given in full. I again offer my thanks to the editor of the Saturday Review for permission to reprint tales, the 2 last in the book. So, that was not Lord Dunsany's acknowledgements, I don't think. Maybe they were... Preface! Come with me, ladies and gentlemen, who are in any wise weary of London. Come with me, and those that tire at all of the world we know.
Of London.
For we have new worlds here.
Fantasy worlds.
Fantasy worlds! Alright, so I have read the first one.
But not to me, right?
Yeah,
or did you?
You
I
fell
was
asleep.
Okay,
yeah.
That doesn't count.
It's weird, but it's neat. I wonder if I should try to hold up these illustrations. No, I'm not worried about it. But they are really cool illustrations.
I assume you can probably find them on the Google.
Yeah.
Or on the Pinterest, maybe? Who knows?
Sidney Syme is Sydney, and then last name Sime. Yeah. Oh, people are talking.
Oh shit! What are they saying?
Holy crap! Hair's pink. Check Twitter. Know that feeling. Story times. Imagine if people use story openings as pickup lines.
Once upon a time, I had a huge dick.
Pickup
lines.
That's where that one works in all the clubs.
But only once upon a time. It's not that way anymore, unfortunately.
So now I'm a humbleman.
And now I'm a humbleman.
The bride of the man horse.
No! Is that just a centaur?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's alright. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, like, that's still...
Yeah. No, this is a weird one. And, like, old fantasy, it's weird. Let's get going. On the morning of his 250th year, Shepperalk, the centaur, went to the golden coffer, wherein the treasure of the centaurs was, and taking from it the hoarded amulet that his father, Jaishak, in the years of his prime, had hammered from mountain gold and set with opals bartered from the gnomes, he put it upon his wrist, and said no word, but walked from his mother's cavern. And he took with him, too, that clarion of the centaurs, that famous silver horn, that in its time had summoned to surrender 17 cities of man, and for 20 years had brayed at the star-girt walls in the siege of Tholden-Blarna, the citadel of the gods. What time the centaurs waged their fabulous war,
fabulous wars,
and were not broken by
mean,
any force of arms.
If they've got, like, fancy as shit horns, like, the clarion is a horn, right?
Yeah.
It sounds pretty fabulous.
But retreated slowly in a cloud of dust before the final miracle of the gods that they brought in their desperate need from their ultimate armory. He took it and strode away, and his mother only sighed and let him go. She knew that today he would not drink at the stream coming down from the terraces of Varpa Niger, the inner land of the mountains, that today he would not wander a while at the sunset, and afterwards trot back to the cavern again to sleep on rushes pulled by rivers that know not man. She knew that it was with him as it had been of old with his father, and that of Goom, the father of Jaishak, and long ago with the gods. Therefore she only sighed and let him go.
Okay.
But he, coming out from the cavern that was his home, went for the first time over the little stream, and going round the corner of the crag saw glittering beneath him the mundane plain, and the wind of the autumn that was gilding the world, rushing up the slopes of the mountain, beat cold on his naked flanks.
I got some real lag on my
He raised his head and snorted.
Okay.
How's that? Is that...
I mean, it's not...
Do you have anything else open that you can close?
Oh, yeah. I can
Probably
close
Firefox.
Firefox. You've got it on yours. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Photoshop still gets weird and laggy when I use that brush picker sizes, but it's probably not helped by streaming. But it's okay. It'll be fine.
Is Spotify open?
Oh, shit. Spotify is open, because it opens like a creep when I'm not paying attention.
I think it just automatically opens.
That's what I meant.
Alright, I'm a man-horse now! He shouted aloud, and leaping from crag to crag, he galloped by valley and chasm, by torrent bed and scar of avalanche, until he came to the wandering leagues of the plain, and left behind him forever the Athramanarian Mountains.
What a mouthful that is.
Athramanarian Mountains.
Athramanarian.
Yeah, I just kind of plowed through that word.
Right.
I'm a man-horse now!
I am a man-horse!
You're the man-horse now, dog!
Oh, no! Let's make t-shirts with that.
His goal was Retzazula, the city of Sambaline. What legend of Sambaline's inhuman beauty, or of the wonder of her mystery, had ever floated over the mundane plain to the fabulous cradle of the centaur's race? The Athramanarian Mountains, I do not know. Yet in the blood of man there is a tide, an old sea current rather, that is somehow akin to the twilight, which brings him rumors of beauty from however far away, as driftwood is found at sea from islands not yet discovered. And this spring tide, or current, that visits the blood of man, comes from the fabulous quarter of his lineage, from the legendary, the old. It takes him out to the woodlands, out to the hills. He listens to ancient song. So it may be that Shepperalk's fabulous blood stirred in those lonely mountains away at the edge of the world to rumors that only the airy twilight knew, and only confided secretly to the bat, for Shepperalk was more legendary even than man. Certain it was that he headed from the first for the city of Zretazula, where Somblin in her temple dwelt, though all the mundane plain, its rivers and mountains, lay between Sheparalk's home and the city he sought. When first the feet of the centaur touched the grass of that soft alluvial earth, he blew for joy upon the silver horn. He pranced and caracoled. He gambled over the leagues.
Caracoled? What a...
Sure, that's probably
What a
how you say
verb.
it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Google.
Okay, Google, tell me about what... I assume it's just another horse word. Just a
Sure.
word for doing some kind of canter biz.
I did like the Canterbiz tales. Thanks, that is supremely unhelpful.
What?
Past tense, caracoled, past participle, caracoled, of a horse. To perform a caracole.
Thank you. That tells
Caracole.
me
How do
a
you find
lot.
hashtag caracole? How do you hashtag caracole?
Is that...
Caracole or caracole is a turning maneuver on horseback in
Okay.
dressage and previously in military tactics. Riders execute a caracole as a single ... I'm not going to open the article. He did horse biz. He did some prancercise.
Some mad horse biz.
Yep.
Or centaur biz. Because he is a man horse now, father. Mother. Whatever. I don't know. His dad's dead? Is that what we learned?
I think his dad ran away.
Oh.
Because that's what all the dads do. They get the wanderlust in their heart.
Happy Father's Day weekend! And then we... Yeah, anyway.
Pace game to him like a maiden with a lamp. You know the old saying. A new and beautiful wonder.
As the poet said.
As the poet... Yeah. The wind laughed as it passed him. He put his head down low to the scent of the flowers. He lifted it up to be nearer the unseen stars. He reveled through the kingdoms, took rivers in his stride. How shall I tell you, ye that dwell in cities, how shall I tell you what he felt as he galloped? He felt for strength like the towers of Bel Naranya, for lightness like those gossamer palaces
Did he
that
just,
the fairy spider builds twixt heaven and sea along the coasts of Zith.
Are these names, like, he's just fucking making up fantasy names
Pretty
right
sure.
now?
Yep.
Okay.
For swiftness, like some bird racing up from the morning to sing in some city's spires before daylight comes. He was the sworn companion of the wind. For joy he was as a song, the lightnings of his legendary sires. The earlier gods began to mix with his blood, his hooves thundered. He came to the cities of men, and all men trembled, for they remembered the ancient mythical wars, and now they dreaded new battles and feared for the race of man. Not by Cleo are these wars recorded. History does not know them. But
You got
what
a
of that?
pan!
Hey, bud, you gonna stop a little bit?
Yeah.
Don't go on keyboard, though.
You gonna also be a cam kitty, like your sister? Show the Twitch your butthole?
Don't do that. These are our babies.
What?
These are our precious children. Why would you? Right.
I think you should support Pan if he wants to be a cam kitty.
Right. I don't know if he knows that he's being recorded right now, though.
No, he doesn't know anything. He's just a dumb cat.
Yeah, so he can't make informed decisions. Not all of us have sat at historians' feet, but all have learned fable and myth at their mother's knees, and there were none that did not fear strange wars when they saw Sheparalk swerve and leap along the public ways. So he passed from city to city.
Well, what we got going on at their chat? Anything interesting?
Uh,
Oh, kitty.
I shot the same thing in the morning. Greg wants a t-shirt.
Yeah.
You're the man now, horse.
It's good. Maybe yeah, okay.
And there's much excitement about this handsome pan.
This handsome Pan, he's so handsome.
By night he lay down unpanting in the reeds of some marsh or a forest. Before dawn he rose triumphant, and hugely drank of some river in the dark, and splashing out of it would trot to some high place to find the sunrise, and send echoing eastwards the exultant greetings of his jubilant horn. And lo! The sunrise coming up from the echoes, and the plains new lit by the day, and the leagues spinning by like water flung from a top, and that gay companion the loudly laughing wind, and men, and the fears of men, and their little cities, and, after that, great rivers, and waste spaces, and huge new hills, and then new lands beyond them, and more cities of men, and always the old companion, the glorious wind. Kingdom by kingdom slipped by, and still his breath was even. "It is a golden thing to gallop on good turf in one's youth," said the young man-horse, the centaur. "Ha ha!" "Oh,"
Ha ha!
said the wind of the hills, and the winds of the plain answered.
Whoa.
So, I felt that the wind laughing was pretty metaphorical.
But no,
Up until
it's
this
literal.
point. It might be literally just
Well, I mean, he's got the bloods of the old gods in his
so he
whatever.
can hear the language of the wind.
Yeah. He's a magical horseman.
Benjamin, do you have blood of the old gods?
Is
Is that why you're so magnificent?
I don't think so.
He's got a great destiny.
God damn it.
Bells pealed in frantic towers. Wise men consulted parchments. Astrologers sought the portent from the stars. The aged made subtle prophecies. "Is he not swift?"
Is he not swift?
said the young. "How glad he is!" said children.
Whoa.
No, just children.
Just children.
Yeah,
now.
so like old people are like, "Oh shit, it's the prophecy!"
It's the
and
war
children are like,
times.
"Dang, you gotta go fast!"
You gotta go fast.
Night after night brought him sleep, and day after day lit his gallop, till he came to the lands of the Athelonian men who live by the edges of the mundane plain, and from then he came to the lands of legend again, such as those in which he was cradled on the other side of the world, and which fringe the marge of the world and mix with the twilight. And there a mighty thought came into his untired heart, for he knew that he neared Zeterazula now,
What a good
the
name.
city of Sambaline. Zreta Zoola? Zeterazula? That's a nice feel too.
Good mouthful. Good mouthful.
It was late in the day when he neared it, and clouds colored with evening rolled low on the plain before him. He galloped on into their golden mist, and when it hid from his eyes the sight of things, the dreams in his heart awoke, and romantically he pondered all those rumors that used to come to him from Sambaline, because of the fellowship of fabulous things.
The Fellowship of Fabulous Things?
Yeah,
That's also a good name.
Fellowship of the Things? We should do a book series called Fellowship of the Things.
No, but they're fabulous things. That's
Fabulous
the important
things.
part. Just like that, yeah.
She dwelt, said
They
Evening
probably
secretly to
mean
the bat.
fabulous in like the wondrous sense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But I just want glitter. Glitter and sparkles everywhere.
Glitter is wondrous. Those aren't mutually exclusive.
Did they have glitter when he was writing?
I think so.
Like, I mean, like craft glitter, I guess, because they obviously had the verb
I think they
glitter
had
to glitter, because
I
like
think they had
jewels do that and
sparkling
stuff.
dust, maybe.
Like gem powder
Yeah.
used for alchemy,
Sure.
or at least that's what Sims would have me believe, that you can use gem dust to make potions.
For those saying that Mr. Pan is being ignored, he is actually laying on my hand, so he's getting belly rubs.
Yeah, he's
he-
good. He's purring up a storm.
Yeah, he likes to park himself directly on top of my hands and arms. I'm
He-
surprised he's not
he
trying
would-
to stomp on my phone right
he
now.
would be on your phone if your phone was close to your lap, because
Yeah.
that's his favorite spot, is to cover up phones.
My handsome boy. Are you watching the screen?
There's like little
Do you-
movements. He's probably like, "Can I hunt it?" No, he's not that good. Not that good a kitty cat.
You want a kicker?
Yeah, you
All right.
can't see his little kicker.
She dwelt, said Evening secretly to the bat, in a little temple by a lone lake shore. A grove of cypresses screened her from the city, from Zetazula of the climbing ways. And opposite her temple stood her tomb, her sad lake sepulchre with open door, lest her amazing beauty and the centuries of her youth should ever give rise to the heresy among men that lovely Cymbeline was immortal.
Wait, are we talking about the city now, or is it a
No,
lady?
that's a lady.
Okay.
For only her beauty
Is she an
and her
elf
lineage
lady,
were divine.
Oh.
No, she's not immortal.
She's not immortal.
Yeah, so they left the door to her tomb open, so like you know that she's dead.
Oh, okay. It's not even a living lady. I got confused.
Yeah, no, she's dead. She's
super dead.
Yeah. Her father had been half centaur and half god. Her mother was a child of a desert lion and that sphinx that watches the pyramids.
Whoa.
Look at that sphinx. You know that sphinx?
That's just that one sphinx.
That's her grandma.
You racist. That one sphinx. No.
She was more mystical than woman. Her beauty was as a dream, was as a song.
I kind of wish she was a real character.
The one dream of a lifetime dreamed on enchanted dews. The one song sung to some city by a deathless bird blown far from his native coast by storm and paradise. Dawn after dawn on mountains of romance, or twilight.
Mountains of romance.
After twilight could never equal her beauty.
Wow.
All the glowworms had not the secret among them, nor all the stars of night. Poets had never sung it, nor evening guessed its meaning. The morning envied it. It was hidden from lovers. She was unwed, unwooed.
When she died?
The lions come not to woo her, because they feared her strength, and the gods dared not love her, because they knew she must die. This was what evening had whispered to the bat. This was the dream in the heart of Sheparalk as he cantered blind through the mist. And suddenly there at his hooves in the dark of the plain appeared the cleft of the legendary lands, and Zretazula sheltering in the cleft, and sunning herself in the evening.
But just her tomb, not like a literal lady.
Zretazula is the city.
Oh, okay.
So Zretazula...
God, there's so many fancy words that I don't...
Yeah, Zretazula is sheltering in the cliff.
Okay.
And sunning herself in the evening.
No, all right.
Cymbeline.
Cymbeline is the dead lady.
Yeah.
Who is maybe like a centaur sphinx.
Yeah. She's
I can
one
take
quarter.
that.
She's 1/4 centaur, 1/4 god, 1/4 lion, 1/4 sphinx. Specifically, that sphinx.
This is my new OC.
Yeah.
Can I have rainbow sun and moon powers?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you have the two different lineages.
Okay. Look at this pan, he's so fat.
What's going on? Swiftly and craftily, he bounded down by the upper end of the cleft, and entering Zretazula by the outer gate, which looks out sheer on the stars, galloped suddenly down the narrow streets. Many that rushed out onto balconies as he went clattering by, many that put their heads from glittering windows, are told of in olden song. Sheparalk did not tarry to give greetings or to answer challenges from martial towers. He was down through the earthward gateway, like the thunderbolt of his sires, and like Leviathan who has leapt at an eagle, he surged into the water between temple and tomb. He galloped with half-shut eyes up the temple steps, and only seeing dimly through his lashes, seized Cymbeline by the hair, undazzled as yet by her beauty, and so haled her away, and leaping with her over the floorless chasm where the waters of the lake fell unremembered away into a hole in the world, took her we know not where, to be her slave for all those centuries that are allowed to his race. A little bit of casual necrophilia.
Yeah, I'm... Alright.
Did you not know that was coming?
Well, no, yeah, I thought you had told me this story was about a centaur stealing a lady to be his wife.
Dead lady, yep.
I didn't realize she was a dead lady.
She was very dead.
Very dead?
Yeah.
This is weird.
Like
okay.
hundreds of years dead.
What is the picture for this? Is it like a centaur stealing a corpse? Or is she only, like, dead in the mystical sense that she's just waiting for, like, a hot centaur to be her husband? Like a Sleeping Beauty type scenario.
I think it's 3 blasts he gave as he went upon that silver horn. That is the world-old treasure of the centaur. These were his wedding bells.
Did his mom know that he was going off to steal a corpse to marry?
I don't think so. I think she probably wouldn't have just sighed like, "Oh, that boy."
Like, oh, those centaurs will be centaurs. You know how they do.
Okay, so this is the picture. It is titled Dreadazula. Yep, and so it's a centaur blowing on a horn, grabbing a lady by the hair.
But she definitely looks like she's alive.
Yes.
That's weird. Okay. Maybe she'll wake up in a second. Or unless that story's over.
Yeah, she also got lion body.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she's like a lion centaur.
Oh.
That's pretty rad.
I like this.
Yeah. So the end.
That's the end?
That's the end of The Bride of the Man Horse.
What?
The first story. Yeah, it blew the wedding bells. So, do we headcanon it? She is alive now?
Yeah, I'm just gonna
and
pretend she was in some kind of mystical death-like slumber. I don't... Yeah, okay. Weird, alright. But I'm super into, like, centaur, lion, sphinx lady. That's cool.
Yeah. Real hero of the story. Okay.
Real hero of the story.
Yeah, so this next one, kind of see what's going on there. This is the picture of the ominous cough. Kind of a cool, like, fantasy shop in a tree.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yep. Oh, the cool sparkles.
I don't know how... Oh, god damn it. Why did I do this? Oh, I was on... I didn't... I thought I made a new layer! My life. Okay.
So it goes. This is the distressing tale of Thingabrind, the jeweler.
The distressing tale.
When Thingabrind, the jeweler, heard the ominous cough. That's the name of the picture!
Nobody seems to be coughing in that picture. But, yeah, okay.
He turned at once upon that narrow way. A thief was he, of very high repute, being patronized by the lofty and elect, for he stole nothing smaller than the moo-moo's egg. Is that your egg, name?
He's a moo-moo.
And in all his life stole only 4 kinds of stone: the ruby, the diamond, the emerald, and the sapphire. And as jewelers go,
I guess it's...
his honesty was great.
I guess it's good that he limited himself. He knew his limits and played within them.
Yeah. You know, he kind of built his brand up. He picked his categories. In his lanes.
Okay. You're a good boy.
Now there was a merchant prince who had come to Thingabrind and had offered his daughter's soul for the diamond that
Rude.
is larger than the human head, and was to be found on the lap of the spider idol, Clo-Clo, in his temple of Maungaling. For he had heard that Thingabrind was a thief to be trusted.
A thief to be trusted. He only steals certain jewels. There's a... Yeah.
Well, he had great honesty. So, like, you could trust him not to rat you out, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah.
Because, like, nobles and rich folk commission him to steal stuff.
To steal
Thingabrind
emeralds, rubies, sapphires, diamonds?
oiled his body. He's got his body real slick and ready to go.
Slipping those
And
jewel cracks.
and slipped out of his shop. I like to think if he oiled his body and slipped out of his shop. He greased his body down and...
Oh no! It's gross.
And went secretly through byways and got as far as Snarp before anybody knew that he was out on business again, or missed his sword from its place under the counter. Thence he moved only by night, hiding by day, and rubbing the edges of his sword, which he called Mouse, because it was swift and nimble. To sharpen it, I guess, rubbing the edges.
Or, no, just
Or
to rub him.
Maybe he's masochistic.
He's really into knives.
The jeweler had subtle methods of traveling. Nobody saw him cross the plains of Zid. Nobody saw him come to Mursk or Clune. Sure. Oh, but he loved shadows. Once the moon, peeping out unexpectedly from a tempest, had betrayed an ordinary jeweler, not so did it unto Thingabine. The watchmen only saw a crouching shape that snarled and laughed. "'Tis but a hyena," they said. Once in the city of Ag, one of the guardians seized him, but Thingabine was oiled and slipped from his hand. You scarcely heard his bare feet patter away. He knew that the merchant prince awaited his return, his little eyes open all night and glittering with greed. He knew how his daughter lay chained up and screaming night and day. That's horrible.
Why?
Thingabine knew. Prince's daughter?
Okay.
Yeah, because he gets to buy her. Yeah. It's troubling.
Yes. I've got a wheel of death at the moment, so sorry if I'm not doing anything. I keep looking at your screen to talk to the camera.
Oh yeah.
That's not. You're not that. Yeah.
Hi.
Okay. Hi.
How's it going?
I'm just waiting for my Photoshop to catch up with me, so I can keep doing the thing. It'd be great. Yeah, I guess in case you are wondering, I didn't really talk about the pages I'm working on specifically, but this is from chapter. I guess you can see the title, but not the chapter number on there. This is from chapter 14. It's the next chapter, which is about mainly Mara going out to the promised lunch with Aldous. So that's who this Deeber is. This long-haired, scar-faced Deeber.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cutie dog.
Oh, he is.
Oh, he's a cutie. Good cuties.
Let me ask, when were these written? 1915. So I'm guessing the messed up sexism and buying and selling of daughters, and the idea
it's also
that,
fantasy.
Yeah, it's kind of like the George R. R. Martin school of fantasy, where women are garbage because that's how it was in the time of dragons.
I mean, yeah, yes, in
Yeah.
the time of dragons.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it's a little bit rude to George R. R. Martin. I don't know if he deserves that much flack for what things HBO did. I mean,
yeah. Having not
he's
read
not
the books,
perfect, but
yeah,
it's much better than a lot of the ways other people write fantasy women.
Yeah, but also too that the brother was persecuted because he was gay. Because he just arbitrarily decided that homosexuality was also a sin in that culture.
I don't think it was an arbitrary decision. I think it's just that's kind of the standard for when people write old-timey
Eurocentric fantasy.
But that's what.
Yeah, and then you exacerbate it because it's fantasy. I've got opinions on old fantasy.
Taylor's got a lot of opinions on lots of stuff.
Yep.
He's very opinionated. That's okay. It's good to have opinions.
Alright,
I have an opinion about this little piece of white that I hope it's covered up.
Oh, it's still painting.
It's still thinking.
It's still going.
It's still going.
It's creeping around the other side. Oh, going up. Corner. Is it going to come back around?
Yeah, and it's going to hang out there for a little bit.
Yeah. Alright. And had he not been out on business, he had almost allowed himself one or two little laughs. But business was business, and the diamond that he sought still lay on the lap of Hlohlo, where it had been for the last 2 million years since Hlohlo created the world and gave unto it all things except that precious stone called Dead Man's Diamond. The jewel was often stolen,
See you later.
but had a knack of coming back again to the lap of Hlohlo. Thingabine knew this, but he was no common jeweler, and hoped to outwit Hlohlo, perceiving not the trend of ambition and lust, and that they are vanity. So, he's kind of using jeweler as somebody who steals jewels.
To make things? Or he just acquires jewels?
Yeah, and it's, commonly referring to, goodbye, Greg.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye now.
Goodbye now. We'll see you later. On the internet.
Yeah, like, was that like a normal version, like meaning for that word?
I don't know. This is a fantasy, and
Yeah, maybe
in
jewelers in this
fantasy,
world are just people who steal jewels.
yeah,
Yep.
maybe language means nothing.
How nimbly he threaded his way
Like a
through the pits of snood.
boy.
Now, like a botanist scrutinizing the ground, botanists are people who steal plants.
Oh, okay. So I started listening to a new podcast called Criminal, and there is a episode about how like down in the South, stealing Venus flytraps is a huge thing. Like people just like go out onto like preserve lands and like other places and steal a buttload of Venus flytraps to resell to people.
Weird.
Yeah. So yeah, no botanists. They're just
Yeah,
they're fantasy botanists.
there's a bunch of botanists.
The world's an interesting place,
Yeah.
and podcasts are good.
Now, like a dancer, leaping from crumbling edges. It was quite dark when he went by the towers of Tor, where archers shoot ivory arrows at strangers, lest any foreigner should alter their laws, which are bad, but not to be altered by mere aliens.
Okay.
Wow, that's just kind of like
That's
a real quick half sentence to describe some really awful politics.
yeah.
All right,
Like
yeah.
our laws suck, but we're not not
Let's-
changing them.
Let's push through this.
Especially not if aliens want them.
At night they shoot by the sound of the stranger's feet. Oh, Thangabrine, was ever a jeweler like you? He dragged 2 stones behind him by long cords, and at these the archer shot. Tempting indeed was the snare that they set in Wath, the emeralds loose set in the city's gate. But Thangabrine discerned the golden cord that climbed the wall from each, and the weights that could topple upon him if he touched one. And so he left them, though he left them weeping, and at last came to Theth, where all men worship Loclo, though they are willing to believe in other gods, as missionaries attest, but only as creatures
As
of the chase
missionaries attest.
for the hunting of Floclo, who wears their halos. So these people say on golden hooks along his hunting belt.
Okay, so I've got a question that you
Yeah.
probably don't know the answer to. These like fantasy gods and places, are they and like short stories, are they all connected to each other? Are they in the same world, or are they just kind of like standalone?
So it's
I know you said that he wrote multiple books. There are multiple books of wonder that are maybe titled different things, but
yeah,
are part of the
Um,
series.
yeah. I think they might be like loosely connected, so they don't acknowledge each other a bunch. I don't know if other
Like,
stories will reference
is there a
some of these guys.
pantheon happening here, or is this just like
Maybe.
for funsies? We're gonna make up a million fake fantasy names
Yeah.
and never use them again.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Okay, I hope they're connected.
Yeah.
I would like this to become a rich and interesting world for me to like understand, because like I for real can't keep any of these fantasy names straight right now. Like I can only kind of remember what anything is the second you say it, and maybe that's just because I've got like stream adrenaline and I'm focusing on making sure I don't like
Yeah, that's
fuck
fine.
up my drawing. But
Word.
word.
And from Theth he came to the city of Mau, and the temple of Maungalain, and entered and saw the spider idol. Hello. Spider idol! Sitting there with dead man's diamond glittering on his lap, and looking for all the world like a full moon. But a full moon seen by a lunatic who had slept too long in its rays, for there was in Dead Man's Diamond a certain sinister look, and a boding of things to happen that are better not mentioned here. The face of the spider idol was lit by that fatal gem. There was no other light, in spite of his shocking limbs, in that demonic. So this is
Demonoc?
it's
Damon?
demonic, but with an A. So it's demon I-A-C. So demoniac.
Demoniac.
Demoniac. I've encountered that word before. I think it was in Bikram.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think it's just an old-timey spelling of demonic.
Mhm.
Demoniac body. His face was serene, and apparently unconscious. A little fear came into the mind of Thangabrine the jeweler. A passing tremor. No more. Business was business, and he hoped for the best. Thangabrine offered honey to Rolo, and prostrated himself before him. Oh, he was cunning. When the priest stole out of the darkness to lap up the honey, they were stretched senseless on the temple floor, for there was a drug in the honey that was offered to Hlo-Hlo. And Thingumbrine the jeweler picked the dead man's diamond up, and put it on his shoulder, and trudged away from the shrine. And Hlo-Hlo the spider idol said nothing at all, but he laughed softly as the jeweler shut the door. When the priest awoke out of the grip of the drug that was offered with the honey to Hlo-Hlo, they rushed to a little secret room with an outlet on the stars and cast a horoscope of the thief. Something that they saw in the horoscope seemed to satisfy the priests.
Just real quick, a little behind-the-scenes thing about this panel I'm working on right now. I keep having to go back to clean up the lines, and like if you're wondering why the lines are so bad, it's because like I only decided to do to not draw in the word bubbles like halfway through writing this chapter. So before I hadn't like drawn half of this background, and because I'm lazy, I didn't do it with pencil first. I just kind of freehanded it with pen. So very dirty lines is why that is. But I'm not going to really change them because most of it's still probably going to get covered up by panels.
Yeah, and it's still kind of like sketchy.
Yeah.
History stuff.
Yeah, it's sketchy history.
All right, I gotta get it. Yeah, I gotta move my leg. I'm sorry, bud. You can reposition yourself. You're just gonna wiggle around anyway.
That's just what he do. He's a wiggle baby.
Wiggler.
Primo wiggler.
All right, we got a bad horoscope. It was not like Thingumbrine to go back by the road by which he had come. No, he went by another road, even though it led to the narrow way, Night House and Spider Forest. The city of Maung went towering up behind him, balcony above balcony, eclipsing half the stars, as he trudged away with his diamond. It was not easy as he trudged away. Though, when a soft pittering as of velvet feet arose behind him, he refused to acknowledge that it might be what he feared. Yet the instincts of his trade told him that it is not well when any noise whatever follows a diamond by night. And this was one the largest that had ever come to him in the way of business. Because this is one of the largest. This is literally the cursed diamond protected by the god of gods. It's one of the bigger ones, sure.
I mean, it's not
top 5.
It's probably not the only cursed diamond guarded by like a god idol.
Yeah.
There's probably other ones that are bigger.
When he came to the narrow way that leads to Spider Forest, Dead Man's Diamond feeling cold and heavy, and the velvety footfall seeming fearfully close, the jeweler stopped and almost hesitated. He looked behind him. There was nothing there. He listened attentively. There was no sound now. Then he thought of the screams of the merchant prince's daughter, whose soul was a diamond's price, and smiled and went stoutly on. What a psychopath! There watched him apathetically over the narrow way, that grim and dubious woman whose house is the night. Thingumbrine, hearing no longer the sound of the suspicious feet, felt easier now. He was all but come to the end of the narrow way, when the woman listlessly uttered that ominous cough. The cough was too full of meaning to be disregarded. Thingumbrine turned round and saw at once what he feared. The spider idol had not stayed at home. The jeweler put his diamond gently upon the ground and drew his sword called Mouse, and then began that famous fight upon the narrow way in which the grim old woman whose house was night seemed to take so little interest. To the spider idol, you saw at once, it was all a horrible joke. To the jeweler, it was grim earnest. He fought and panted and was pushed back slowly along the narrow way, but he wounded Hlo-Hlo all the while, with terrible long gashes all over his deep, soft body, till Mouse was slimy with blood.
His deep, soft body. Gross.
That's my Tinder profile.
That's your Tinder profile, then?
But at last the persistent laughter of Hlo-Hlo was too much for the jeweler's nerves, and once more wounding his demoniac foe, he sank aghast and exhausted by the door of the house called Night, at the feet of the grim old woman, who, having uttered once that ominous cough, interfered no further with the course of events, and there carried Thingumbrine the jeweler away, though whose duty it was, to the house where the two men hang, and taking down from his hook the left-hand one of the two, they put that venturous jeweler in his place, so that there fell on him the doom that he feared, as all men know, though it is so long since, and there abated somewhat the ire of the envious gods. And the only daughter of the merchant prince felt so little gratitude for this great deliverance that she took the respectability of a militant kind, and became aggressively dull,
What?
and called her home the English Riviera,
What?
and had at platitudes worked and worsted upon her tea cozy, and in the end never died, but
What?
passed away at her residence.
What?
I don't know.
Is that the end?
Yeah, the end. Like, I was thinking the moral was he's a bad man, and he got his due, but then it's like, she never got to marry the prince, so she had the boring life because she married a military man.
Okay. I don't feel like marrying a prince versus marrying a military man would be all that much.
She's the daughter of the prince.
Oh, she's the daughter of the prince. Okay.
Yeah. And she was supposed to marry the jeweler merchant.
Oh, okay.
No, the jeweler thief.
Oh, okay, for the diamond.
For the diamond. Yeah.
I think it's probably better that she didn't marry him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and it's kind of like.
So then they're like, oh, she'll.
But apparently.
Well, maybe you're supposed to read it in the way that like the boring life is the better life.
That makes sense, because she wasn't eaten by a spider god and carried away to be hung upon the hook in the House of Night.
Yeah, that's much more exciting, but like a lot less good, I think.
Yeah. I might steal this for a D&D campaign. not the prince daughter thing. I'll bribe you guys with something else.
Okay. But just like go steal this jewel and then we get hung on hooks? Or we live a normal, boring life?
Terrible spider god.
Okay.
Ugh. Alright, water time.
Wobber time. Time for you to drink some wobber.
Alright, I'm gonna do another tweet.
Whoa, a tweet.
Yep. Watch out for these.
Watch out for these hot tweets.
Quality
so
content.
Spicy.
Up in here. Up in
There.
So, there's some neat memory stuff going on. I guess, is there any...
Memory stuff? Oh, yeah, there's...
Or, like, there's a lot of cool flashback stuff you're doing. We kind of remember... Oh, no, that's something else.
I mean, this is a flashback. There's a lot of, like, hey, what have you been doing, like, old friend dude that I haven't seen in, like, a buttload of years. So, like, yeah, it's... Oh, the flashback stuff you're talking about is chapter 15, not 14. There's not technically any flashbacks in chapter 14. Like, yeah, not the same way, anyway.
No. Trying to fish for, like, other things that you can talk about, but I don't want you to spoil too much.
Yeah, no, I mean, I figure I shouldn't do too many spoilers, especially because, like, this isn't a Patreon stream, it's just a general public, whoever wants to show up can show up and watch me. If you do want spoilers, camera, it's right there, you should really consider backing me on Patreon. Whoa, Patreon, what is that? Yeah. I don't know if there's any new people here for me to, well, in the moment, I don't know if there's any new people here for me to pitch to, but, like, if this is going to go up on YouTube, so it's going to be relevant then anyway, and you'll have heard the earlier pitch, but, yeah. Talk a little bit more about Patreon. If you back me at the $1 tier, you get the early updates for the comic, so you get I just bundle together in a little PDF that you can download off of Gumroad. The all the pages for that month. So like the first week of like the new month, you get that goes up on there. And then that's at the $1 level, so really reasonable, very reasonable price. And then if you want secret behind the scenes stuff like sketches, because a lot of the time I will do sketch drawings of like scenes that are just like in ballpoint pen or pencil or whatever. Those are at the $5 tier. And then at the $10 tier, you get to have background cameos in the comic, which is always like helpful for me and cool for you, I think anyway. Because then I can fill out townies a lot easier. And I think it's more fun to have like other people's characters. If you've got like your own webcomic that you want to like with monsters, or like even just like slightly less than human people.
I wonder if I should be posting this to Instagram because they're like pictures.
If you've got, yeah, you can post it to Instagram, I think. But that's the $10 tier, and then I think there's also a $20 tier.
If I back on the $10 tier, will you put my cameos in your comic?
Which cameos?
Just whatever I asked for.
I mean, yeah. I will. Like that's the thing I'll do. $20 tier, you get like sketch commissions. But I
if I back for $20, will you draw sketches?
Yeah, because you'll be paying me. I mean, like, okay.
Because I have a lot of NPCs.
That's true. You do. That's the other thing. I guess we could like plug really quick. You want to talk about the D&D thing?
Do we want to talk about the D&D thing yet? So
I'll just start building hype. Whatever.
Yeah. So we are recording I'm running a D&D and spell campaign. Spell being a RPG of my own creation. You can find it on Gumroad, gum.co/spell. It is an RPG where you use letter tiles to cast magic. Whatever you spell is what you cast. It's a pun. Where the party...
It's also accurate. It's a descriptive, whatever.
Yeah. Where the party originally played as gods of a world as they zoom through 1,000 years of history.
Yeah. So
and now they're playing D&D as heroes in this world the gods kind of set the rules for.
Yeah. So for the God campaign, we did a module from your different like world settings.
Spellbook.
Then we did
Volume 1.
We did the God Queen one.
Yep.
So
it's a slight variation on God Queen, but it's kind of a zoomed out. It can be played GM-less, where you just kind of like cycle through, and different people taking control. That's not how we did this one.
No, that's not how we did this one.
Because I've got too much control freak.
And also, I didn't want to GM anyway.
Yeah. So,
GMing's not for everybody.
We are recording it. We'll be editing the audio for the stuff, and then posting it as podcast episodes on our various places in which podcast things can be posted. So follow us on Twitter. We're going to talk about it, and then we'll start sharing out a couple of other our fantastic friends. Carter, JD, and Amelia are also part of it, and we can share out all of their tweet handles.
Oh, one of the other things I forgot to mention, for the $5 tier and above, you also get to read bonus comics that I make. And there's going to be one updating for $5 backers this month, which is like a little extra scene from the current chapter that is happening that like is not going to be posted along with everything else because it's just kind of... It's not that it's like non sequitur, but it's not important for the story. It's just like a thing that I thought of later that I thought would be cool and cute to draw. So yeah, look forward to that. It's got that cute boy Michael in it. Being cute. Oh, whoa! I might actually... We'll probably do a Patreon stream for me coloring that one later.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh no, my computer is low battery.
Oh no, well... you probably want to get a new charger, because I'm 40%.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the We already did all of our
This
plugs.
is intermission. Go run and get yourself a snack. It's not really intermission. How long have we been going? It's like 1:16. I don't know how long we've been. Probably started a little bit after noon.
Back there? There's baby Steven on the ground.
Yeah.
Go back to home, Steven. Okay. Oop. And I'm back. You ready to hear about the house of the Sphinx?
Oh yeah, tell me about that. Tell me about that Sphinx house.
When I came to the house of the Sphinx, it was already dark. They made me eagerly welcome, and I, in spite of the deep, was glad of any shelter from that ominous wood.
That's
I saw
weird that this is first person, though.
at once that there had been a deed, although a cloak did all that a cloak may do to conceal it. The mere uneasiness of the welcome made me suspect that cloak. The Sphinx was moody and silent. I had not come to pry into the secrets of eternity, nor to investigate the Sphinx's private life.
Is
And
this
so,
like, okay, so is this like a B&B run by a Sphinx or like a temple? Because I was assuming it was like just like a farmhouse or something, but
House of the Sphinx? I don't know.
yeah.
Probably like a temple. Oh yeah, it looks kind of chaos-y.
I think a B&B run by a Sphinx, though, would be pretty cool. Well, but maybe Sphinxes just like living in castles.
Yeah. So you should listen to our podcast in which there will be a B&B run by a Sphinx.
Yeah! I will draw that for free. That
Nice.
sounds great.
But the Sphinx will be moody and silent.
Okay, that's fine.
I had not come to pry into the secrets of eternity, nor to investigate the Sphinx's private life, and so had little to say and few questions to ask. But to whatever I did say, she remained morosely indifferent. It was clear that either she suspected me of being in search of the secrets of one of her gods, or of being boldly inquisitive about her traffic with time, or else she was darkly absorbed with brooding upon the deed.
You know how... Whoa, the deed?
The deed.
What
You know the
deed?
deed.
I don't
The
know.
ominous deed?
The ominous deed?
There was a cloak, and the cloak did all that it could do to conceal it.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
I soon...
Like, did he do a deed that she knows about? Is that...
Maybe. I saw soon enough that there was another than me to welcome. I saw it from the hurried way that they glanced from the door to the deed, and back to the door again. Should I look up deed to find out if it's a noun?
Yeah, like, I just kind of assume it's like a dirty deed done dirt cheap. Like, somebody murdered somebody, and he's just, like, got the body in the corner or something. I don't know.
And it was clear that the welcome was to be a bolted door. But such bolts, and such a door! Rust and decay and fungus had been there far too long, and it was not a barrier any longer that would keep out even a determined wolf. And it seemed to be something worse than a wolf that they feared.
The caps.
A little later on, I gathered from what they said that some imperious and ghastly thing was looking for the Sphinx, and that something that had happened had made its arrival certain. It appeared that they had slapped the Sphinx to vex her out of her apathy in order that she should pray to one of her gods, whom she had littered in the house of time. Now I think litter in the house of time, I just think of the Sphinx cat box.
No! No!
But her moody silence was invincible, and her apathy oriental. Is that?
Their apathy or I don't know if that's a weird choice of word. No, I don't.
Probably
Okay.
racist. I'm just gonna...
No, I think you're. That seems weird to me.
Capital O?
Oh, it's capital O even?
Well, yeah. Yep.
Right.
Ever since the deed had happened. Okay, so it wasn't actually. And when they found that they could not make her pray, there was nothing for them to do but pay little useless attentions to the rusty lock of the door, and to look at the deed in wonder, and even pretend to hope, and to say that after all it might not bring that destined thing from the forest, which no one named. It may be said I had chosen a gruesome house, but not if I had described the forest from which I came, and I was in need of any spot wherein I could rest my mind from the thought of it.
Wait, so who committed the deed? Was it him?
The Sphinx.
The Sphinx committed the deed.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I wondered very much what thing...
But he still knows about... Well, I don't even know if it's a he. I just assumed because it's the author's a he, but...
I wondered very much what thing would come from the forest on account of the deed. And having seen that forest, as you, gentle reader, have not, I had the advantage of knowing that anything might come. It was useless to ask the Sphinx. She seldom reveals things. Like her paramour Time, the gods take after her. And while this mood was on her, rebuff was certain. So I quietly began to oil the lock of the door, and as soon as they saw this simple act, I won their confidence. It was not that my work was of any use, it should have been done long before, but they saw that my interest was given for the moment to the thing that they thought vital. They clustered round me. They asked me what I thought of the door, and whether I had seen better, and whether I had seen worse. And I told them about all the doors I knew, and said that the doors of the baptistery in Florence were better doors, and the doors made by a certain firm of builders in London were worse. And then I asked them, "Hey, yo!
Where's this guy from? Is he like...
He's Irish.
Oh, okay, that makes sense why... Okay, yeah.
And so I said of London, get wrecked."
Oh.
It doesn't say that part.
I know, it doesn't say that part.
I made that part up.
I know. I like it, though. I like it a lot.
And then I asked them what it was that was coming after the Sphinx because of the deed, and at first they would not say. And I stopped oiling the door. And then they said that it was the Arch-Inquisitor of the forest, who was investigator and avenger of all Sylvestrian things. And from all that they said about him, it seemed to me that this person was quite white, and was a kind of madness that would settle down quite blankly upon the place, a kind of mist in which reason could not live, and it was the fear of this that made them fumble nervously at the lock of that rotten door. And with the Sphinx it was not so much fear as sheer prophecy. The hope that they tried to hope was well enough in its way, but I did not share it. It was clear that the thing that they feared was the corollary of the deed. One saw that more by the resignation upon the face of the Sphinx than by their sorry anxiety for the door. The wind soughed, and the great tapers flared, and their obvious fear in the silence of the Sphinx grew more than ever a part of the atmosphere, and bats went restlessly through the gloom of the wind that beat the tapers low. Then a few things screamed far off, and then a little nearer, and something was coming towards us, laughing hideously.
Ooh.
I hastily gave a prod to the door that they guarded. My fingers sank right into the moldering wood.
Ooh, gross.
There was not a chance of holding it. I had not leisure to observe their fright. I thought of the back door, for the forest was better than this. Only the Sphinx was absolutely calm. Her prophecy was made, and she seemed to have seen her doom, so that no new thing could perturb her. But by moldering rungs of ladders as old as man, by slippery edges of the dreaded abyss, with an ominous dizziness about my heart, and a feeling of horror in the soles of my feet, I clambered from tower to tower, till I found the door that I sought, and it opened onto one of the upper branches of a huge and somber pine, down which I climbed on the floor of the forest. And I was glad to be back again in the forest from which I had fled. And the Sphinx, in her menaced house, I know not how she fared, whether she gazes forever, disconsolate at the deed, remembering only in her smitten mind, at which little boys now leer, that she once knew well those things at which man stands aghast, or whether, in the end, she crept away, and clambering horribly from abyss to abyss, came at last to higher things, and is wise and eternal still. For who knows of madness, whether it is divine, or whether it be of the pit.
Of the pit. Huh. Interesting story.
Yep. That was the Sphinx.
That was the Sphinx.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Thirsty.
You thirsty?
Okay, next up. Probable adventure of the three literary men.
Probable adventure.
Probable adventure.
Who knows if it actually happened? It
I think-
could have.
I think it's something that happened, but it's kind of like, yeah, that's something that would happen to literary men. It's not like a fantastic adventure. It's just like, yeah, that seems like something literary men would do.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Excuse me. See, I burped on camera. When the nomads came to Alola, they had no more songs, and the question of stealing the golden box arose in all its magnitude. On the one hand, many had sought the golden box, the receptacle, as the Ethiopians knew, of poems of fabulous value, and their doom is still the common talk of Arabia. On the other hand, it was lonely to sit round the campfire by night with no new songs. It was the tribe of Heth that discussed these things one evening upon the plains below the peak of Maluna.
So it's super weird how like there's all these fantasy names, but then like some real place names mixed in.
Yeah, kind of makes you wonder if, like,
Maybe these aren't fantasy names. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure, like, Zune and Flusk and Stam and, like, all those random places.
Zith or whatever.
Yeah, that the
Those are
jeweler
fake.
was going through was fake.
Okay.
Unless, if you're from Zook or Zam or Blim Blam Bloomy, I am sorry. I don't mean to
I don't mean to
disrespect.
call your place fake.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Their native land was the track across the world of immemorial wanderers, and there was trouble among the elders of the nomads because there were no new songs. Well untouched by human trouble, untouched as yet by the night that was hiding the plains away, the peak of Maluna, calm in the afterglow, looked on the dubious land. And it was there on the plain upon the known side of Maluna, just as the evening star came mouse-like into view, and the flames of the campfire lifted their lonely plumes uncheered by any song, that rash scheme was hastily planned by the nomads, which the world was named the Quest of the Golden Box. No measure of wiser precaution could the elders of the nomads have taken than to choose for their thief that very Slith, the identical thief that, even as I write, in how many schoolrooms governesses teach, stole a march on the king of Westalia.
Australia.
Yet the weight of the box was such that others had to accompany him, and Sippy and Slorg were no more agile thieves than may be found today among vendors of the antique. Does he just think that, like, all tradesmen are thieves?
Maybe. I don't know. It seems kind of like it.
Those antique folk always stealing stuff. So we get to follow.
Maybe they
the
were
adventures
in olden
of,
times.
The
Slippian.
Slith, Sippy, and Slorg.
Oh wait, they're different people. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of thought they were all the same person.
So Slith is the main thief who is, like, super good, but the box is too heavy to carry alone, so he's taking Sippy and Slorg along with him.
Are they dwarves?
Sure. I think they're literary men. Literary dwarfen.
Literary dwarfen.
So over the shoulder of Maluna, these three climbed next day and slept as well as they might among its snows rather than risk a night in the woods of the dubious land.
I know dubious is a real word, but like...
You think they're smoking doobies?
No, or it's just like, when like I call you a doobie or a gooby or whatever,
okay.
It's just like, just a really dumb land. Just really dumb.
And the morning came up radiant, and the birds were full of song, with the forest underneath and the waste beyond it, and the bare and ominous crags all wore the appearance of an unuttered threat. Though Slith had an experience of 20 years of theft, yet he said little, only if one of the others made a stone roll with his foot, or, later on in the forest, if one of them stepped on a twig, he whispered sharply to them always the same words. "That is not business."
Okay.
He knew that he could not make them better thieves during a 2 days' journey, and whatever doubts he had interfered no further. Whatever doubts he interfered no further. Okay, that's how you read. From the shoulder of Maluna, they dropped into the clouds, and from the clouds to the forest, to whose native beasts as well the three thieves knew, all flesh was meat, and whether it were the flesh of fish or man. There the thieves drew idolatrously from their pockets each one a separate god, and prayed for protection in the unfortunate wood, and hoped therefrom for a threefold chance of escape, since if anything should eat one of them, it were certain to eat them all, and they confided that the corollary might be true, and should all escape if one did. Logic. Whether one of these gods was propitious or awake, propitious, actually. Propitious. It's a word.
Propitious.
Or whether all of the three, or whether it was chance that brought them through the forest unmouthed by detestable beasts, none knoweth. But certain neither the emissaries of the god that they most feared, nor the wrath of the topical god of that ominous place, brought their doom to the three adventurers there or then. And so it was that they came to the rumbly heath, in the heart of the dubious lands, whose stormy hillocks were the ground swell, and the afterwash of the earthquake lulled for a while. Something so huge that it seemed unfair to man that it should move so softly stalked splendidly by them, and only so barely did they escape its notice that one word rang and echoed through their three imaginations: if. And when this danger was at last gone by, they moved cautiously on again, and presently saw the little harmless Mipt, half fairy and half gnome, giving shrill, contented squeaks on the edge of the world. And they edged away unseen. For they said that the inquisitiveness of the Mipt had become fabulous, and that, harmless as he was, he had a bad way with secrets. Yet they probably loathed the way that he nuzzles.
Mixed. You can't trust a Mipt.
Nope, can't trust. Yet they probably loathed the way that he nuzzles dead white bones, and would not admit their loathing, for it does not become adventurers to care who eats their bones. Okay. Be this as it may, they edged away from the Mipt, and came almost at once to the wizened tree, the goal post of their adventure, and knew that beside them was the crack in the world, and the bridge from bad to worse, and that underneath them stood the rocky house of owner of the box. I like that this is like a party of three rogues.
Yeah.
And like the DM is just like, this giant monster stalks you.
Fuck
and
that.
like, we stealth.
Like,
there's a Mipt cheerfully playing with bones.
Stealth.
We stealth.
Cheerfully playing with bones. Horrible.
Nuzzling them, really.
Oh, gross.
This was their simple plan. To slip into the corridor
simple plan.
In the upper cliff, to run softly down it, of course with naked feet, under the warning to travelers that is graven upon stone, which interpreters take it to be, it is better not. Not to touch the berries that are there for a purpose, on the right side going down, and so to come to the guardian on his pedestal who had slept for 1,000 years, and should be sleeping still, and go in through the open window. One man was to wait outside by the crack in the world until the others came out with the golden box, and, should they cry for help, he was to threaten at once to unfasten the iron clamp that kept the crack together. When the box was secured, they were to travel all night, all the following day, until the cloud banks that wrapped the slopes of Maluna were well between them and owner of the box. The door in the cliff was open. They passed without a murmur down the cold steps, Slith leading them all the way. A glance of longing, no more, each gave to the beautiful berries. The guardian upon his pedestal was still asleep. Slorg climbed by a ladder that Slith knew where to find, to the iron clamp across the crack in the world, and waited beside it with a chisel in his hand, listening closely for anything untoward, while his friend slipped into the house. And no sound came, and presently Slith and Sippy found the golden box. Everything seemed happening as they had planned. It only remained to see if it was the right one, and to escape with it from that dreadful place. Under the shelter of the pedestal, so near to the guardian that they could feel his warmth, which paradoxically had the effect of chilling the blood of the boldest of them, they smashed the emerald hasp and opened the golden box, and there they read by the light of ingenious sparks which Slith knew how to contrive, and even this poor light they hid with their bodies. What was their joy, even at that perilous moment, as they lurked between the guardian and the abyss, to find that the box contained 15 peerless odes in the archaic form, 5 sonnets that were by far the most beautiful in the world, 9 ballads in the manner of Provence that had no equal in the treasuries of man, a poem addressed to a moth, and 28 perfect stanzas, a piece of blank verse of over 100 lines on a level not yet known to have been attained by man, as well as 15 lyrics on which no merchant would dare to set a price. They would have read them again, for they gave happy tears to a man in memories of dear things done in infancy, and brought sweet voices from far sepulchres. But Slith pointed imperiously to the way by which they had come, and extinguished the light, and Slorg and Sippy sighed, then took the box. I thought Slorg was outside still.
I don't know.
The guardian still slept the sleep that survived 1,000 years. As they came away, they saw that indulgent chair close by the edge of the world, in which owner of the box had lately sat reading selfishly and alone the most beautiful songs and verses that poet had ever dreamed. They came in silence to the foot of the stairs, and then it befell that as they drew near safety in the night's most secret hour, some hand in an upper chamber lit a shocking light, lit it, and made no sound. For a moment it might have been an ordinary light, fatal as even that could very well be at such a moment as this, but when it began to follow them like an eye, and to grow redder and redder as it watched them, then even optimism despaired. And Sippy very unwisely attempted flight, and Slorg even as unwisely tried to hide, but Slith, knowing well why that light was lit in that secret upper chamber, and who it was that lit it, leaped over the edge of the world, and is falling from us still.
Whoa.
Through the unreverberate blackness of the abyss.
Wait, so who lit it though?
Owner of the house, I think.
Yeah, but
Tom.
Adam. Okay.
The end. They all died.
They all...
Well, maybe not.
Well, one of them just fell forever.
Yeah.
It's not really death, but it is falling forever. You laughing at me? Was it somebody falling forever?
Yes, I'm falling. I keep falling.
You just wrote it for funsies? It's fine too. I don't mind if he just writes things for funsies.
Ever. I like that the ultimate treasure is just like a bunch of poems that are just so good.
They make you weep.
Yep.
They're written for a moth, by a moth? I didn't know.
One of them was written for a moth.
Okay.
This is kind of like a neat little thing. Okay. So we have the injudicious prayers of Pombo, the idolater.
The idolater?
Pombo the idolater had prayed to Amuz a simple prayer, a necessary prayer, such as even an idol of ivory could very easily grant, and Amuz had not immediately granted it. Pombo had therefore prayed to Tharma.
You're throwing shade at idols of
Ivory?
ivory?
Sure.
Why? Okay.
Well, come on.
Come on. All
You
right.
know.
I don't, but alright.
Excuse me. Pombo had therefore praised to Tharma for the overthrow of Amuz, an idol friendly to Tharma, and in doing this offended against the etiquette of the gods. Tharma refused to grant the little prayer. Pombo prayed frantically to all the gods of idolatry, for though it was a simple matter, yet it was very necessary to a man. And gods that were older than Amuz rejected the prayers of Pombo.
Maybe your
And
prayer's bad, Pombo.
Gods that were younger and therefore of greater repute.
What?
I don't know.
Alright.
New gods, they're flashier, younger, more in the
hip.
spotlight.
I just...
Idolatry top 40.
No.
He prayed to them one by one, and they all refused to hear him. Nor at first did he think at all of that subtle divine etiquette against which he had offended. It occurred to him all at once
It's
as he prayed
super rude to pray to
his
multiple gods.
50th god,
Wow!
a little green jade god whom the Chinese know, that all the idols were in league against him. When Pombo discovered this, he resented his birth bitterly, and made lamentation, and alleged that he was lost. He might have been seen then in any part of London, haunting curiosity shops and places where they sold idols of ivory or stone, for he dwelt in London with others of his race, though he was born in Burma, among those who hold Ganges holy. Okay, so this is racist.
So he's just an Indian guy? Is that what this is? Burma?
He's Burmese,
He's Burmese.
but he lives in London.
Okay. Does this have a fantasy picture to go with it, or is it just like some kind of...
Well, we got gods doing stuff.
But are they like actual gods or fantasy gods? British don't care, it's fantasy for them.
It's also known as Myanmar.
Mm.
It's a sovereign state in the region of Southeast Asia.
Oh, okay.
It's bordered by India
Okay.
and Bangladesh. Okay. Let me get through this one. On drizzly evenings of November, worst his haggard face could be seen in the glow of some shop pressed close against the glass, where he would supplicate some calm, cross-legged idol till policemen moved him on. And after closing hours back, he would go to his dingy room in that part of our capital where English is seldom spoken, to supplicate little idols of his own. And when Pombo's simple, necessary prayer was equally refused by the idols of museums, auction rooms, shops, then he took counsel with himself and purchased incense, and burned it in a brazier before his own cheap little idols, and played the while upon an instrument such as that wherewith men charm snakes. And still the idols clung to their etiquette. Whether Pombo knew about this etiquette and considered it frivolous in the face of his need, or whether his need, now grown desperate, unhinged his mind, I know not, but Pombo the idolater took a stick and suddenly turned iconoclast. Pombo the iconoclast immediately left his house, leaving his idols to be swept away with the dust, and so to mingle with man, and went to an arch-idolater of repute who carved idols out of rare stones, and put his case before him.
Is he a jeweler?
Yeah, he steals.
He steals them. Oh no.
He steals gods.
He steals gods.
But, like, the god stealer,
Ooh.
if it was like the arch-idolater, the god stealer, if that
would be
was
cool.
like an NPC,
Yeah.
like, that would be... You'd be like, tell me more, tell me more.
Yeah, it would be.
That song does have other words.
Yeah, it does. It 100% does.
Mm-hmm.
Grace.
I don't. What are we doing? How long is this one? We can do this.
Okay.
Put his case before him. The arch-idolater who made idols of his own rebuked Pombo in the name of man for having broken his idols. For hath not man made them? The arch-idolater said, and concerning the idols themselves he spoke long and learnedly, explaining divine etiquette and how Pombo had offended, and how no idol in the world would listen to Pombo's prayer. When Pombo heard this, he wept, and made bitter outcry, and cursed the gods of ivory and the gods of jade, and the hands of man that made them. But most of all he cursed their etiquette, that had undone, as he said, an innocent man. So that at last the arch-idolater, who made idols of his own, stopped in his work upon an idol of jasper for a king that was weary of wash. Not like laundry.
No, yeah.
And took compassion on Pombo, and told him that though no idol in the world would listen to his prayer, yet only a little way over the edge of it, a certain disreputable idol sat who knew nothing of etiquette,
Oh, man.
and granted prayers that no respectable god would ever consent to hear.
Okay.
When Pombo heard this, he took 2 handfuls of the arch-idolater's beard, and kissed them joyfully, and dried his tears, and became his old, impertinent self again.
Great.
And he that carved from jasper, the usurper of Wash, explained how in the village of World's End, at the farthest end of last street, there is a hole that you take to be a well, close by a garden wall, but that if you lower yourself by your hands over the edge of the hole, you feel about with your feet till they find a ledge. That is the top step of a flight of stairs that takes you down over the edge of the world. For all that men know, those stairs may have a purpose, and even a bottom step, said the arch-idolater. But discussion about the lower flights is idle.
Okay.
What, like Ellie, though? IDLE.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was an
Probably
Then
not.
the teeth of Pombo chattered, for he feared the darkness. But he that made idols of his own explained that those stairs were always lit by the faint blue gloaming in which the world spins. Then, he said, you will go by the lonely house, and under the bridge that leads from the house to nowhere, and whose purpose is not guessed. Thence, past Maharion, the god of flowers, and his high priest, who is neither bird nor cat. And so you'll come to the little idol Duth, the disreputable god that will grant your prayer. And he went on carving again at his idol of jasper for the king who was weary of Wash. And Pombo thanked him, and went singing away.
A type of stone, or is
For in his vernacular mind, he thought that he had the gods. It's WOSH, and O has a line over it. I think Wosh is a people?
Wosh is a people.
Or a person?
Ah, see.
Goodbye, Camille.
Good night, moon. Goodbye, Camille.
It is a long journey from London to World's End, and Pombo had no money left. Yet, within 5 weeks, he was strolling along Last Street. But how he contrived to get there, I will not say, for it was not entirely honest. And Pombo found the well at the end of the garden beyond the end house of Last Street, and many thoughts ran through his mind as he hung by his hands from the edge. But chiefest of all those thoughts was one that said the gods were laughing at him, and through the mouth
Gods laugh at all of us, bro.
of the arch-idolater, their prophet. And the thought beat in his head till it ached like his wrists. And then he found the step. Pombo walked downstairs. There, sure enough, was the gloaming in which the world spins. The stars shone far off in it faintly. There was nothing before him as he went downstairs but that strange blue waste of gloaming, with its multitudes of stars, and comets plunging through it on outward journeys and comets returning home. And then he saw the lights of the bridge to nowhere, and all of a sudden he was in the glare of the shimmering parlor window of Lonely House. He heard voices there pronouncing words, and the voices were nowise human. And but for his bitter need he had screamed and fled. Halfway between the voices and Maharion, whom he now saw standing out from the world, covered in rainbow halos, he perceived the weird gray beast that is neither cat nor bird. As Pombo hesitated, chilly with fear, he heard those voices grow louder in the lonely house, and at that he stealthily moved a few steps lower, and then rushed past the beast. The beast intently watched Maharion, hurling up bubbles that are every one a season of spring in unknown constellations, calling the swallows home to unimagined fields, watching him without even turning to look at Pombo, and saw him drop into the Lunarna. That's a tricky one. The river that rises at the edge of the world, the golden pollen that sweetens the tide of the river and is carried away from the world to be a joy to the stars. And there before Pombo was the little disreputable god who cares nothing for etiquette and will answer prayers that are refused by all the respectable gods. And whether the views of him at last excited Pombo's eagerness.
I want to know what he's praying for. Like, should we be rooting for this guy? Is he praying for, like, some messed up shit?
It's a simple prayer, but necessary for man.
Okay. Alright.
I just want a sandwich, man.
I'm just so hungry for, like, a tuna sandwich, but tuna's off season right now, and there ain't no tomatoes, man. It's winter. I don't know.
Tuna melts are never melty enough.
It's real. It's not, no.
It is, like...
He's just upset that we got one this morning and it wasn't melty enough for him. Like, if you make it yourself, it's fine.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like the last 2 tuna melts I've had before this tuna melt.
But did you get them all from the grocery store? Because,
no.
Like, okay, so you're talking about tuna melts from, like, other places.
Yeah, I got a tuna melt from, I think, Leaf and Ladle.
Oh, okay. And it wasn't melty enough?
Nope.
Put Leaf and Ladle on blast for how their tuna melts are not melty.
Leaf and Ladle is a fantastic soup and sandwich place. They've got really good food. Their seasonal paninis are super bomb. Their current one has apples and blue cheese.
Oh, that does sound good.
And I believe ham. Like smoked ham.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying that sounds good.
That was really good. Their seasonal panini last fall was had cranberry sauce and turkey and stuff on it. It was kind of like a Thanksgiving.
Oh,
yes. They're really good. They don't properly melt their tuna melts at the end.
What about their other paninis, though? Are they properly melted?
Yeah. Their other paninis are
just, for whatever reason, the tuna does not melt?
Well, I don't need the tuna to melt.
What?
I just need the cheese.
Oh.
I don't want the tuna to achieve, like, a different form of matter.
Oh, I see.
I understand that's not what you're saying.
No, I know. Doing a goof. It's not a good goof, but whoa.
Pombo. And whether the view of him at last excited Pombo's eagerness, or whether his need was greater than he could bear that it drove him so swiftly downstairs, or whether, as is most likely, he ran too fast past the beast, I do not know, and it does not matter to Pombo. But at any rate, he could not stop, as he had designed, an attitude of prayer at the feet of Duth, but he ran on past him down the narrowing steps, clutching at smooth bare rocks, till he fell from the world as, when our hearts miss a beat, we fall in dreams, and wake up with a dreadful jolt.
Is that how? Oh.
But there was no waking up for Pombo, who still fell on towards the incurious stars, and his fate is even one with the fate of Slith. Callback!
Oh shit, they are connected. Oh man, people fall into the void.
Yeah.
What is this?
I do appreciate that he did the callback.
Yeah,
so it's
because
not
now I don't hate the story.
Yeah.
Because I kind of hated the story.
Yeah. Well, like, and that he ends 2 stories in a row with, and then they fell forever in the void.
Because, for reasons.
I haven't been pictures in a while.
Yeah, did he just, like, start writing nonsense? Some more pictures? It's okay if there's not, but...
Yeah, that's not how scrolling works. These old books always have a list of illustrations in them. So what I'm going to do is so there's content. Yeah, list of illustrations. So they have the edge of the world as the frontispiece. That's that one.
Okay.
Zredazula. Then the ominous cough, the house of the Sphinx. Then I wish I knew more about the ways of queens. It's going to be on page 54.
Is that next, or
It's coming up, I think.
How many pages are there?
178, I guess.
Okay.
That's way too many. Well, like, okay, so
it's way too many.
we're on like this list of illustrations. So what they call page 1, this is our page 19.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. I have finished one page, and I'm on to a new one. So I'm glad about that. One of the problems I have with doing the digital painting is that like the file size gets crazy out of hand, and I haven't 100% figured out like why that is. Particularly so, like I'm working with grayscale right now, but some of these pages, because Aldous has a magic arm and it's in color, so I have to swap back over to color, and when I do that, it like blows the file size way out of control. So I'm gonna try a thing to mitigate that, like not on the stream, where I do the coloring last, because before I was doing it, and then once I had finished all of the page coloring, I would go over and start doing the bubbles and stuff, and like that adds more layers, and that also adds text. So I'm not sure if I do that conversion after I've already done the text and everything, if that will make the file size smaller. I'm hoping it will.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, what you could do is once you're done painting, you can export that as a flattened image.
Yeah, and
then do the text over.
I hadn't been exporting it into anything different. I had just been I would save one that was layered before I did any of the lettering stuff, and then I flattened it and just kept working in that same file. It might make a difference if I did the thing that you just said. I'm not sure though. I'm gonna play around with this. It's still a new process for me doing this 100% digital.
So Reddit's been giving me push notifications every now and then.
What do you do on Reddit?
I have.
Oh, you got your Whimsy Machine tab page?
Yeah,
I don't really know how Reddit works.
Downloaded the app.
Why?
To have the app.
Never go on Reddit. It's a bad place.
But this is a shower thought. They should put slap bracelet material into a blanket so I can make myself a human burrito with the least amount of effort.
But I feel like it'd be
Horrifying?
equal effort and less comfy than just like gluing Velcro on one edge and then rolling yourself into a burrito over the Velcro.
I think they just kind of want to like slap onto,
okay.
just kind of like flop onto the blanket and have it go.
I think that would be super fun to just like lay the blanket out and jump on it and then like have it wrap up around you.
Yeah.
That would be great. I would be very into that.
To which the response is somebody said they cracked one open and just had a tape measure on it. So you're saying nothing is stopping someone from making a prototype tonight with an old blanket, zip ties, and a few dollar store tape measures?
Oh.
Oh, snack.
You want a snack?
The Loot of Bombasharna.
I don't think we have any snacks.
No.
It's a sad day. No snacks.
Bombasharna. So the next story after this one should have a picture.
Okay.
Because there are more stories in here than there are illustrations. I think some of them might have been kind of... They're all inspired by this Edge of the World sort of theme.
Right.
Um,
I'm gonna try something fancy. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm gonna try it. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Okay.
You're trying to do air mask?
Yeah, because I
Or a
want
clipping mask?
this section behind Mariah to be fading to a dark color. Do it like this and then erase the color. Yeah, look at me, so smart some of the time in Photoshop. That's too much. Try that.
Neato. Things had grown too hot for Shard, captain of pirates on all the seas that he knew. The ports of Spain were closed to him. They knew him in San Domingo. Men winked in Syracuse when he went by. The two kings of the Sicilies never smiled within an hour of speaking of him. There were huge rewards for his head in every capital city, with pictures of it for identification, and all the pictures were unflattering.
Oh no, not unflattering pictures.
Therefore, Captain Shard decided that the time had come to tell his men the secret.
The secret. Was it what the deed was?
I hope so.
I hope it was.
You better do a callback to find out what the hey that deed was.
What the hey that deed?
Riding off Tenerife one night, he called them all together. He generously admitted that there were things in the past that might require explanation. The crowns that the princes of Aragon had sent to their nephews, the kings of the two Americas, had certainly never reached their most sacred majesties. That was a weird sentence. Let's try that again. The crowns that the princes of Aragon had sent to their nephews, the kings of the two Americas, had certainly never reached their most sacred majesties. Oh, okay. The crowns that were sent
Never got there.
Never got there, yeah. Where, men might ask, were the eyes of Captain Stoba, who had been burning towns on the Patagonian seaboard? Why should such a ship as theirs choose pearls for cargo? Why so much blood on the decks and so many guns?
Why so much blood? Come on, Photoshop, you can do it.
And where was the Nancy, the Lark, or the Margaret Bell? Those are all italicized.
The ships. Butts.
Such questions as these, he urged, might be asked by the inquisitive, and if counsel for the defense should happen to be a fool, be unacquainted with the ways of the sea, they might become involved in troublesome legal formulae. And Bloody Bill, as they rudely called Mr. Gagg, a member of the crew, looked up at the sky and said that it was a windy night and looked like hanging.
Ooh.
And some of those present thoughtfully stroked their necks, while Captain Shard unfolded to them his plan. He said the time was come to quit the desperate Lark, for she was too well known to the navies of 4 kingdoms, and a 5th was getting to know her, and others had suspicions. More cutters than even Captain Shard suspected were already looking for her jolly black flag with its neat skull and crossbones in yellow. There was a little archipelago that he knew of on the wrong side of the Sargasso Sea. There were about 30 islands there, bare, ordinary islands, but one of them floated. He had noticed it years ago, and had gone ashore and never told a soul. but had quietly anchored it with the anchor of his ship to the bottom of the sea, which just there was profoundly deep, and had made the thing the secret of his life, determining to marry and settle down there if ever became impossible to earn his livelihood in the usual way at sea. When first he saw it, it was drifting slowly with the wind in the tops of the trees, and if the cable had not rusted away, it should still be there where he left it, and they would make a rudder and hollow out cabins below, and at night they would hoist sails to the trunks of the trees and sail wherever they liked. And all the pirates cheered, for they wanted to set their feet on land again somewhere where the hangman would not come and jerk them off it at once. And bold men though they were, it was a strain seeing so many lights coming their way at night, even then. But it swerved away again and was lost in the mist. And Captain Shard said that they would need to get provisions first, and he, for one, intended to marry before he settled down, and so they should have one more fight before they left the ship, and sack the sea-coast of Bombasharna, and take from it provisions for several years, and he himself would marry the Queen of the South.
Wow.
And again the pirates cheered, for often they had seen sea-coast Bombasharna, and had always envied its opulence from the sea. So they set all sail, and often altered their course, and dodged and fled from strange lights till dawn appeared, and all day long fled southwards. And by evening they saw the silver spires of slender Bombasharna, a city that was the glory of the coast. And in the midst of it, far away though they were, they saw the palace of the Queen of the South. It was so full of windows all looking toward the sea, that they were so full of light, both from the sunset that was fading upon the water, and from candles that maids were lighting one by one, that looked far off like a pearl, shimmering still in its haliotis shell, still wet from the sea. This is a heist story.
This is a heist.
This is their one last big job before they all retire.
And then I bet they all fall off the world. I bet that's how it ends.
I bet they do. I bet this whole story, all the characters just end up falling off the world, floating forever downwards. And now they got a boat. Ugh. Let's do this thing. My phone's getting cut about it.
Oh, shoot.
So Captain Shard and his pirates saw it, at evening over the water, and thought of rumors that said that Bombasharna was the loveliest city of the coast of the world, and that its palace was lovelier ever than Bombasharna. But for the Queen of the South, rumor had no comparison. Then night came down and hid the silver spires, and Shard slipped on through the gathering darkness, until by midnight the piratic ship lay under the seaward battlements. And at the hour when sick men mostly die, and sentries on lonely ramparts stand to their arms, exactly half an hour before dawn,
Exactly.
Shard, with two, when men die,
When
sick
men
men
die.
die, sickly
Oh.
men, usually. With his 2 rowing boats and half his crew, with craftily muffled oars, landed below the battlements. They were through the gateway of the palace itself before the alarm was sounded, and as soon as they heard the alarm, Shard's gunners at sea opened upon the town, and before the sleepy soldiery of Bombasharna knew whether the danger was from the land or the sea, Shard had successfully captured the Queen of the South.
Oh, wow.
They would have looted all day that silver seacoast city, but there appeared with dawn suspicious topsails just along the horizon.
I like cuddling you, but I gotta do some detail work.
Yep.
Need a free elbow.
Aye, 'tis the way of the sea,
To need a free elbow?
to need a free elbow, as they say.
Okay.
As they say on that cold, salty bath.
Ooh.
I need an elbow.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And they all look at each other and wink. But we pirates only have but one eye, so our winks just look like blinks. And too many blinks makes our eyes water, and we look like a sentimental bunch, all crying over a joke we made. Hardy, 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 hardy.
Okay.
Too far?
Too far, Gooby.
Okay.
Oh, let's read about pirates.
Therefore the captain with his queen went down to the shore at once, and hastily re-embarked and sailed away with what loot they had hurriedly got, and with fewer men, for they had to fight a good deal to get back to the boat.
Is there a king of this place, or did they just like? Was she like a? Oh, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Seems inconsequential to the story.
Yeah.
They cursed all day. Well, maybe the king will come seek vengeance.
Maybe he throws them off the edge of the world.
Maybe you do.
Maybe he's a lion centaur.
I could use another lion centaur.
I really liked that. It's good.
They cursed all day the interference of those ominous ships, which steadily grew nearer. There were 6 ships at first, and that night they slipped away from all but 2. But all the next day those 2 were still in sight, and each of them had more guns than the desperate Lark. All the next night Shard dodged about the sea, but the 2 ships separated, and one kept him in sight, and the next morning it was alone with Shard on the sea, and his archipelago was just in sight, the secret of his life. And Shard saw he must fight, and a bad fight it was, and yet it suited Shard's purpose, for he had more merry men when the fight began than he needed for his island.
Oh.
And they got it over before any other ship came up, and Shard put all adverse evidence out of the way, and came that night to the islands, near the Sargasso Sea. Long before it was light, the survivors of the crew were peering at the sea, and when dawn came, there was the island, no bigger than 2 ships, straining hard at its anchor with the wind in the tops of the trees. And then they landed and dug cabins below and raised the anchor out of the deep sea, and soon they made the island what they called shipshape. But the desperate Lark they sent away empty under full sail to sea, where more nations than Shard suspected were watching for her, and where she was presently captured by an admiral of Spain, who, when he found none of that famous crew on board to hang by the neck from the yard arm, grew ill through disappointment.
I just wanted to hang them so bad.
I wonder if he'll die half an hour before dawn.
Maybe. That's when sickly men die. And he became ill.
And Shard on his island offered the Queen of the South the choicest of old wines of Provence. Provence, peut-être.
Okay, go ahead.
Le vie de Provence.
Okay.
I've been saying that wrong. So I'm correct. It's not Provence.
Oh.
It's Provence.
You don't know what it is. Okay. What a dork. What a dork.
And for adornment gave her Indian jewels looted from galleons with treasure for Madrid, and spread a table where she dined in the sun, while in some cabin below he bade the least coarse of his mariners sing.
You're the okay.
Yo, ho, yo, ho. You're the least coarse pirate. Aye, Captain. I only have but 1 cup of gravel per day.
Oh, gross.
And I sip my gunpowder sparingly.
Ooh.
I brush my teeth
Okay.
with sandpaper. That was the last one. That's all I got.
Okay.
How did you get so excited about pirates?
Just like pirates.
Like,
a lot.
I haven't really been able to do silly voices for all of these stories, but then I get pirates. I would have I probably would have floated, "You're the horse now, man."
You're the
dog.
horse now, man, dog. No, he's
You're
a
the horse now, man.
Huh?
No, goodness. Yet always she was morose and moody towards him, and often that evening he was heard to say that he wished he knew more about the ways of queens. So they lived for years, the pirates
Oh.
mostly gambling and
Wait,
drinking below.
Is this the ways of queens? This is a different story.
I wish I knew the ways of queens was the next illustration, so I guess it does.
Mm.
Deal with this. I just haven't seen that picture yet.
Okay.
It's like a English story.
Let's see.
Okay, leaning forward again. My booty's sinking on the couch.
Booty. Sinking booty.
So they lived for years. The pirates mostly gambling and drinking below. Captain Shard trying to please the Queen of the South, and she never wholly forgetting Bombasharda.
Mm.
When they needed new provisions, they hoisted sails on the trees, and as long as no ship came in sight, they scudded before the wind, with the water rippling over the beach of the island. But as soon as they sighted a ship, the sails came down, and they became an ordinary, uncharted rock. They mostly moved by night. Sometimes they hovered off sea-coast towns, as of old. Sometimes they boldly entered river mouths, and even attached themselves for a while to the mainland, whence they would plunder the neighborhood and escape again to sea. And if a ship was wrecked on their island of a night, they said it was all to the good. They grew very crafty in seamanship, and cunning in what they did, for they knew that any news of the desperate Lark's old crew would bring hangmen from the interior, running down to every port. And no one is known to have found them out, or to have annexed their island. But a rumor arose, and passed from port to port, in every place where sailors meet together, and even survives to this day, of a dangerous, uncharted rock anywhere between Plymouth and the Horn, which would suddenly rise in the safest track of ships, and upon which vessels were supposed to have been wrecked, leaving, strangely enough, no evidence of their doom. There was a little speculation about it at first, till it was silenced by the chance remark of a man old with wandering. "It is one of the mysteries that haunt the sea." And almost Captain Shard and the Queen of the South lived happily ever after, though still at evening those on watch in the trees would see their captain sit with a puzzled air, or hear him muttering, now and again in a discontented way, "I wish I knew more about the ways of queens." That's kind of cute.
Well, it's kind of cute. But, like, it's just like, I wish I knew more about the ways of queens makes me think that, like a kid that got, like, a weird pet and just doesn't really know what to do with it, which is kind of messed up. It's like, I want a queen, but I don't know how to really, like, take care of a queen.
Yeah. So I'm going to do some plug work.
Plug work?
Plugmanship.
Oh, we plug in a thing again?
Yeah, chords intervals.
Oh, yes, good.
So I got to charge my phone.
Okay.
So I'm going to unplug my computer from that wall, unplug your scanner, plug it into where the scanner was plugged, get my phone charger from the bedroom, plug it into the wall where my computer is currently plugged, and then plug my phone in. So we're all still plugged in, and my phone is also plugged in without having to break the cord across this whole stretch over here.
Okay. What are you doing? Stop that.
I'm putting my arm in front of your face.
Please stop. Well, you're not right now, but... You making gross faces?
Yes.
Gross! Nasty boy.
Don't mean a thing.
Don't mean a thing.
And if I happen to find a snack, no promises that I won't eat it.
Okay.
Those little potatoes look so cute. I just want to eat them.
You can't just eat little potatoes. Your body won't digest them. Just we do have yogurt. You could eat Eat yourself a yogurt. I'm mildly hungry. I could use a little snacko. We probably should have gotten snackos while we were at the store. That would have been smart. I guess while Taylor is running around looking for snackos, I should probably, like, talk about something. I assume... Oh, I don't want to do that. There's...
Talk about how cute all this is. I like him so much.
He's very cute, and I like him a lot. He's a good boy.
Do you want to...
My good babies.
Do you want to talk about your Den character?
My Den character?
Or your god? Or any podcasty type stuff? I'm sorry, you might see my booty for a second. Booty. Booty. Probably shouldn't be this silly. There are people watching, hypothetically.
Hypothetically, some people might see that I just smacked your booty.
Yeah. We're just gonna get uncomfortably domestic. I'm sorry.
That's what happens. We've been together a uncomfortably domestic amount of time. I feel like some people would say.
What did I unplug? The lamp.
The lamp?
Well, it wasn't on.
It's not.
So, I guess I don't have to do any more fancy plugmanship.
I always forget the lamp plugs in over there. I always kind of assume it's like a weird third plug-in that doesn't, like, connect to anything. No, I was thinking I would, like, talk about, I don't know, like, conventions or something? Because that's a thing that I'm trying to do more of. Yeah, we've got all kinds of Girl Scout cookies. We've got those lemony ones and also those peanut butter ones. Tagalongs? We got tagalongs and Savannah Smiles. I don't like the Savannah Smiles all that much, though. They're a lot drier than I was hoping they'd be.
We also have Swedes.
Swedes? Oh, seaweeds? Yeah. Oh, I made ramen the other day and I didn't think we had any. That's disappointing.
Yeah, they're up on the top shelf.
Okay.
Do we do milk and cookies?
What? I ate all the cookies. All the cookie dough cookies.
I saw that you ate all the cookie dough cookies. You're talking about the Girl Scout cookies.
I don't need any milk for Girl Scout cookies. I probably don't want to eat any Girl Scout cookies either.
Fine.
But if you want to, yeah, go for it. Get some milk.
I should probably also not eat Girl Scout cookies.
Somebody's got to eat them.
Why do we get things that...
Because they were free. We got free Girl Scout cookies from our very nice friend Camille, who was in the stream talking to us earlier. They're free because they're hella old, but still good. Oh, I don't know. I don't actually know if I really have anything interesting to say about conventions. I did one recently in Bellingham, which is where we're at, which is where Leaf and Ladle is at, if you want to come to Bellingham and try their not very melty tuna melt. Or
very good tasty
or one of their other very good tasty options. But I did a convention here last month, I think. BayCon, BACon, Bellingham Anime Convention. I think there's also Expo in there, but
they're rebranding themselves to be Bellingham Anime and Comic Expo.
Yeah. So next year they'll have a different name, I guess. But yeah, I did that convention, and
Bellingham Anime and Entertainment.
An
Expo.
entertainment expo.
So it's BayX.
BayX.
Like BAE.
I think I need to go apply for Short Run, because I think that one's open. Short Run is a... is a convention that's happening in November, I think, in Seattle. It's like the same weekend as Jet City, but I thought I would try out that one instead of doing Jet City again. I did that one 2 years ago, and it wasn't that great. I mean, like, it's a good convention. Like, if you're in Tacoma, I would highly recommend going to it because, like, support the artists, and also they usually have really cool artists. But like as an exhibitor 2 years ago, it wasn't a great show.
Nope. Is that also the show that I wrecked the car?
That was also the show that Taylor wrecked his car, and that might have contributed to why it wasn't that great of a convention for us. Yeah.
We're okay though.
Yeah.
Car wasn't.
Car we still drove for like half a year, and recently retired to the junk heap. Well, technically to the recycling heap. We recycled the car for $38.
40 cents.
And 40 cents. He's really upset about it, which is legitimate, but... You want to talk about your car?
I don't.
Okay, we don't have to talk about your car.
It's like getting teary-eyed.
Yeah.
That's my baby.
It was his first car that he bought for like $1,000.
$1,700.
$1,700.
Saved that money myself.
Saved it himself from working in the sweatshop print shop that he worked at. Kept
that money in the envelope in my socks, so nobody would steal it from me because we're meeting people on Craigslist.
Bought it from some kind of veteran.
He was an active duty soldier. We met him on Fort. Oh, the one there in Tacoma.
Yeah, whatever that Fort at Point Defiance or somewhere else. I don't know. Whatever.
What's going on with Mom's mouth?
I gotta erase it. Calm down.
Drinking chocolate milk.
Yep. Yep. She just got a milk mouth. You're such a jerk. What a jerk! It's okay.
That's me, the jerk.
I'm also a jerk. So
I'm the bad boy.
You're the
of
the two of us.
Of the group.
Okay. Okay. He's the bad boy. Yeah. So I gotta do short run. I gotta apply for that. I need to. I'm still waiting to hear back about Geek Girl Con. They've been closed. Their application system has been closed for like, well, maybe they closed in June. I don't remember. I submitted that application like forever ago, and I was like, am I ever going to hear anything? It's been so long. But like, yeah, I think they just recently closed. So that might be a thing I'm doing. I hope so. That'd be really cool. I've never actually been to that convention, but I've heard it's really fun.
Oh, oops.
I don't remember. I think there was another one going to apply to. Oh, Belcon Comic Convention. It is.
Okay.
I think, so their application process is super weird. They want you to like, I think download a PDF and then sign it and mail it to them. But I think I'm just going to email it back because I've got a scanner, so I don't know. I don't want to. Postage isn't a thing that we really have. Like, I kind of have some postage that I bought because I was like, probably use this at some point, and then never did. Because I don't send letters. Oh! I need to remember to... There is something I want to send in the mail, but I don't actually think I need postage for that because I'm going to order it online and send it to place.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of sounds ominous.
It's definitely, well, okay, so I'm definitely not sending, like, anything practical, but it's not dangerous in any way. It's just dumb. It's a dumb joke. I'm going to send a dumb joke gift to some people. Not sure if yeah. I'll stop talking about that vaguely, because, like, I don't want to...
Sound weird about it?
I don't think that they'll watch this, but like just in case, I don't want to ruin the surprise, and I also don't want to like say I'm going to do a thing and then if I forget to do it, like
we won't forget.
I might forget. I forget a lot of stuff.
I'm winking aggressively at the camera,
by the way. Okay. Hi.
I went for my last brand muffin.
Your last brand muffin?
Yep.
So let's see. We are at 2:30. How long do we want to go today?
I still got a whole lot of wonders in this book.
I guess I would like to at least finish this page. That would be good. For me.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
Yeah, let's show off our other cat. Maybe. She's shy. She's a little dummy. She goes very slow. She's basically like a sim cat where she like needs to walk up and load next to an object before she jumps on it for real.
Gutenbergs. She's all despondently looking away. I like how nicely dressed he is for his like full pirate.
I mean, I don't think that pirates didn't dress nice. I think they were just like really dirty.
What is that? Oh, I messed up. I goofed. What happened? I goofed. Oh, this next one promises to be good.
It promises, like in the text, or what by name?
By name.
Oh.
It's really difficult to name. Look at this dumb little bird in the tree.
Is that an owl? A sea owl?
I think it's a parrot. Parrot? You got these wispy little dragon birds.
Owl face.
Up there. Oh, it's got a big old beak.
Okay.
See?
But it's got like little. It's got little owl.
That's the little parrot flute. Parrots have flutes on the top of their heads, don't they? These are tropical birds. Some do.
Yeah, like cockatiels and stuff.
Cockatoodles.
But like, it's got like owl ear, white big owl face.
No, I think it's eye, beak, big white beak.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's just yeah, okay. I think you're right.
This one goes on Instagram. It's public domain, so it should be okay.
Yeah, I figure probably. Breaking the law, the copyright law. I don't think we are.
Should I be spamming? Because this is all good. Anyway, alright, whatever.
Well, okay, according to Still Buffering, you're not allowed to post more than one Instagram a day. Otherwise, teens won't think you're cool.
I do want the teens to think I'm cool. I haven't posted it Instagram yet today. Though.
Oh, okay.
Everything I've
Then
been
you're
posting
fine.
is Twitter. Miss Cubbage and the Dragon of Romance.
Romance. Wait, a dragon of romance? Miss Cubbage?
Miss Cubbage
What a weird name.
and the Dragon of Romance. This tale
I hope it's an actual dragon and not just like
metaphorical dragon.
how sometimes people go by the title the dragon. Or
is Miss Cubbage a heroin addict?
Oh
She's chasing the dragon.
Miss Cubbage, why?
I want to cuddle with you. If you come here, please.
I'll just lick myself, actually. Thank you.
This tale is told in the balconies of Belgrave Square and among the towers of Pont Street. Men sing it at evening in the Brompton Road. What a neat little preface.
The Brompton Road.
Little upon her 18th birthday, thought Miss Cubbage of number 12A, Prince of Wales Square, that before another year had gone its way, she would lose the sight of that unshapely oblong that was so long at her home. And had you told her further that within that year all trace of that so-called square, and of the day when her father was elected by a thumping majority to share in the guidance of the destinies of the empire, should utterly fade from her memory, she would have merely said in that affected voice of hers, "Go to!" There was nothing about it in the daily press. The policy of her father's party had no provision for it. They were...
You fallen? You fallen over the place, baby kitten?
She fell over.
She fell over. She was trying to climb boxes, I think, and fell over. Go to!
Go to! There was no hint of it in conversation at evening parties to which Miss Cubbage went. There was nothing to warn her at all that a loathsome dragon with golden scales that rattled as he went should have come up clean out of the prime of romance and gone by night, so far as we know, through Hammersmith, and come to Ottle Mansions, and then have turned to his left, which of course brought him to Miss Cabbage's father's house. There sat Miss Cabbage. I think I said cabbage
You
last
did
time.
say cabbage last time.
There
My
sat
cabbages!
Miss Cabbage at evening on her balcony, quite alone, waiting for her father to make a baronet. Baronet? I'm not going to dwell on the word that I said wrong. She was wearing walking boots and a hat and a low-necked evening dress, for a painter was but just now painting her portrait, and neither she nor the painter saw anything odd in the strange combination. She did not notice the roar of the dragon's golden scales, nor distinguish above the manifold lights of London the small red glare of his eyes. He suddenly lifted his head, a blaze of gold, over the balcony. He did not appear a yellow dragon then, for his glistening scales reflected the beauty that London puts upon her only at evening and night. She screamed, but to no knight, nor knew what knight to call on, nor guessed where were the dragon's overthrowers afar, romantic days, nor what mightier game they chased, or what wars they waged. Perchance they were busy, even then arming for Armageddon. Out of the balcony of her father's house in Prince of Wales Square, the painted dark green balcony that grew blacker every year, the dragon lifted Miss Cabbage and spread his rattling wings, and London fell away like an old fashion. And England fell away in the smoke of its factories, and the round material world that goes humming round the sun, vexed and pursued by time, until there appeared the eternal and ancient lands of romance, laying low by mystical seas.
Of Dragons of Romance, if you haven't played it yet, Rose of Winter has a really good track where you can seduce a dragon prince. It's very good. Highly recommend.
Yes.
We should probably finish playing the other tracks, but I just liked that one so much that I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I don't need to even, yeah. No.
Oh, Greg's back.
Greg's back!
It's Mr. Greg!
It's Mr. Greg!
I shake a leg! Right.
That was a dumb. I don't know why I painted this on this layer. It's fine. I think I thought I was on a different one, but I wasn't.
That's okay.
It's okay.
You had not pictured Miss Cabbage stroking the golden head of one of the dragons of song with one hand idly, while the other she sometimes played with pearls brought up from lonely places of the sea. They filled huge Haliotis shells with pearls and laid them there beside her.
Multiple dragons?
They brought her emeralds, which she set to flash among the tresses of her long black hair. They brought her threaded sapphires for her cloak. All this the princes of fables did, and the elves and the gnomes of myth. And partly she still lived, and partly she was one with long ago, and with those sacred tales that nurses tell, when all their children are good, and evening has come, and the fire is burning well, and the soft pat-pat of the snowflakes on the pane is like the furtive tread of fearful things in old enchanted woods. If at first she missed those dainty novelties among which she was reared, the old sufficient song of the mystical sea singing of fairy lore at first soothed and at last consoled her. Even she forgot those advertisements of pills that are so dear to England. Even she forgot political cant and the things that one discusses and the things that one does not, and had perforce to content herself with seen sailing by huge golden-laden galleons with treasure from Madrid, and the merry skull and crossbones of the pirateers, and the tiny Nautilus setting out to sea, and ships of heroes trafficking in romance, or of princes seeking for enchanted isles. It was not by chains that the dragons kept her there, but by one of the spells of old. To one to whom the facilities of the daily press had for so long been accorded, spells would have palled, you would have said, and galleons after a time, and all things out of date. After a time, But whether the centuries passed her, or whether the years, or whether no time at all, she did not know. If anything indicated the passing of time, it was the rhythm of elfin horns blowing upon the heights. If the
So
centuries
is
went...
is romance the name of their fantasy land then? Is that what?
Yeah, because, like,
That's
it's
weird.
self-aware of, like, it's like romance literature,
Oh, okay.
right?
Got it.
So it's self-aware that, like, these are stories of old, and the land that she's in is a land of stories.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'm digging this fourth wall breaking stuff. If the centuries went by her, the spell that bound her gave her also perennial youth, and kept a light for over the lantern by her side, and saved from decay the marble palace facing the mystical sea. And if no time went by her there at all, her single moment on those marvelous coasts was turned, as it were, to a crystal, reflecting 1,000 scenes. If it was all a dream, it was a dream that knew no morning and no fading away. The tide roamed on and whispered of mystery and of myth, while near that captive lady asleep in his marble tank the golden dragon dreamed. And a little way out from the coast, all that the dragon dreamed showed faintly in the mist that lay over the sea. He never dreamed of any rescuing night. So long as he dreamed, it was twilight. But when he came up nimbly out of his tank, night fell and starlight glistened on the dripping golden scales. There he and his captive either defeated time, or never encountered him at all, while in the world he now raged Roncesvalles or battles yet to be. I know not of what part the shore of romance he bore her. Perhaps she became one of those princesses of whom fables love to tell, but let it suffice that there she lived by the sea, and kings ruled and demons ruled, and kings came again, and many cities returned to their native dust, and still she abided there, and still her marble palace passed not away, nor the power that there was in the dragon's spell. And only once did there ever come to her a message from the world that of old she knew. It came in a pearly ship across the mystical sea. It was from an old school friend that she
How
had
did they
had
find her address?
in Putney. Merely a note, no more, in a little neat round hand. It said, "It is not proper."
For ladies to live with dragons before they're wed.
It is not proper for you to be there alone.
Rude. Fuck you, Nancy. So you're just jealous you don't have a dragon to dote on you and give you nice shit to put in your hair.
Greg says we should totally do YouTube videos where I read aloud and Mariah provides commentary. That's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
We're gonna post this on
We're
YouTube.
gonna post this on YouTube.
And Mariah draws and provides commentary.
Says dumb shit.
It's good stuff.
It's good. It's the good stuff. Yeah, we'll put this. This will be going on YouTube later. Or if you're watching this in the future, right now, whoa!
Should we divide this into parts?
I don't know. Maybe? Do you think that would make people more willing to watch it? If we, like, cut it?
Into parts and make a playlist out of it?
I mean, I
'Cause we're,
already
like-
have playlists, but...
We're sneaking up on...
Oh, you unplugged my thing.
What?
Yeah, I need power. I only got 20%.
Oh, right, because mine was plugged into the... Oh, okay. Alright. I got confused.
I am figuring that we'll probably only go until I finish this page. Or, well, I don't want to like, stop halfway through a story, but I will 100% do want to finish this, though. Do you think we should just do another stream tomorrow? Like a public one? Or maybe a private one, so I can do... I don't have very many private Patreon exclusive comic pages to do, though. I only really got 1.5. Then the half is just lettering. But I do want to finish this book, but I don't I need you to plug that in, please.
Yeah,
I'm running out of power fast.
Yeah, you're distracted by the cat. I'm sorry.
I know. Cat's not going anywhere. See, she's even following you.
She does that.
Guarantee of pets.
There you go. You get started. We've been ordering too much stuff from the internet, and now we have a lot of empty boxes. We should do something about those boxes.
Like recycle them. Or,
Like recycle
or
them.
fill them full of clothes for the Goodwill. Or, yeah, usually the Goodwill is where we take our clothes that are no longer ones that we want.
Scratch me it. Greg says your hair sure is pink.
It sure is pink! It's more... Okay. I can tell this story about getting my hair dyed. I think it's a pretty good story. I don't know. So, I wanted to get, like, kind of a more subtle rose gold because I was worried that people at my work would make fun of me, and they might still. We'll find out on Monday. But obviously it didn't turn out quite that natural. I haven't washed it yet either. I'm sure after I take a bath today. Oh, god damn it, we didn't get shampoo for me when we were at the grocery store.
We'll go back and get that.
Yeah, we can go back and get snacks. Not right now, obviously, but once we're done with the stream. But so I wanted like this more nat. Oh god damn it! Did I just paint on? I painted on. Hold on, did I? Yep, I painted on.
How are you this far in with only 3 layers?
Because it's black and white. I did merge 2 layers together, but like so this very bottom layer is just like some of the backgrounds that are with not like close enough to touch, and 2 of those like that was 2 layers that I merged into one. And then the layer I'm on, I've got a layer open that I haven't done anything with yet. And then I've got that one layer that was a clipping mask that I merged just into a regular layer and then started doing other stuff on. Because I try to keep very condensed layers so I don't make huge files. Because, like I talked about earlier, file size is a problem for these digital pages.
You did!
I did! My hair! Okay, so I went to get it dyed and it had to be bleached, obviously, because like you can't get bright colors like this if you just put it on your head. And so my stylist, who was very nice and good, bleached it, and like it was very yellow when she took the bleach off the first time, and I started getting nervous and was worried, like I'm gonna look like a 90s boy, like just very, very yellow. I don't know about this. And then, so she did another layer of bleach, and I was like, okay, this is much less yellow, maybe it'll be fine. And then she started doing the pink, and I was like, oh, this is more pink than I thought it was going to be. But it's okay, it'll be fine, it'll wash out, it'll fade over time, it's going to be fine. And then, before she could rinse it out of my hair, like, all of the wash stations were full, so I was like, oh no! It's gonna be in too long and soak up too much color. I'm just gonna look like a highlighter. It's gonna be the worst. Like, how will I? They're gonna make so much fun of me at work. But then she washed it out and, like, it wasn't too bad and, like, it's good. And I like it and I'm happy with how it turned out. So, moral of the story is that everything was fine after all. Hello. Hello. How are you doing? How are you? Are you weary of talking? Of telling people reading stories? Or you just need a little cuddle break?
A little bit of cuddle break.
A little bit of cuddle break? Okay. That's fine. Wow.
Okay.
Probably just one more story. Well, depending on how long it is, I guess.
Yep.
But I think I've only got maybe one story worth of stuff left to do.
Okie dokie.
Oh, what page are we on? How many stories do we have left total? Like, how far did we get?
We're halfway through.
Halfway through? Okay, cool.
The Quest of the Queen's Tears. Sylvia, Queen of the Woods, in her woodland palace held court, and made a mockery of her suitors. She would sing to them, she said. She would give them banquets. She would tell them tales of legendary days. Her jugglers should caper before them. Her armies salute them. Her fools crack jests with them and make whimsical quips. Only she could not love them. This was not the way, they said, to treat princes and their splendor and mysterious troubadours concealing kingly names. It was not in accordance with fable. Myth had no precedent for it. He became really, self-aware through this stuff.
Did.
All right.
I don't got a problem with that.
Yeah. Myth had no precedent for it. She should have thrown her glove, they said, into some lion's den. She should have asked for a score of venomous heads of the serpents of Lycantara, or demanded the death of any notable dragon, or sent them all upon some deadly quest.
So rude to dragons!
But that she could not love them. It was unheard of. It had no parallel in the annals of romance.
Love, no parallel in the annals of romance. No, I know. Yeah. Courtly love and all that. Like, you're not supposed to actually love anybody, just, play the game of, oh, my knight, here's a hanky.
Don't hate the game, hate the players. And then she said that if they must needs have a quest, she would offer her hand to him who first should move her to tears.
Wow.
And the quest should be called, for reference in histories of song, the Quest of the Queen's Tears.
So bards, if you want to write a song about this, I've got a title for you.
Yeah. Hashtag Quest of Queen's Tears. QQ Tears.
QQ. Okay.
Because QQ is also the running away crying face.
Oh, you're right, it is.
Yeah. Lord Dunsany knew his hashtags.
He knew his law speak before even the internet.
And he that achieved them she should wed, be he only a petty duke of lands unknown to romance. And many were moved to anger, for they hoped for some bloody quest. But the old lord's chamberlain sang, as they muttered among themselves in the far dark end of the chamber, that the quest was hard and wise, for that if she could ever weep, she might also love. They had known her all her childhood.
She just doesn't cry, ever?
She had never sighed. Many men had she seen, suitors and courtiers, and had never turned her head after one went by. Her beauty was as still sunsets of bitter evenings when all the world is for a wonder and a chill. She was as sun-stricken mountain, uplifted alone, all beautiful with ice, a desolate and lonely radiance late at evening far up beyond the comfortable world, not quite to be companioned by the stars, the doom of the mountaineer. If she could weep, they said, she could love, they said. And she smiled pleasantly on those ardent princes and troubadours concealing kingly names. Then, one by one, they told each suitor prince the story of his love, with outstretched hands and kneeling on the knee. And very sorry and pitiful were the tales, so that often up in the gallery some maid of the palace wept, and very graciously she nodded her head like a listless magnolia in the deeps of the night, moving idly to all the breezes its
Your
glorious
mom died
bloom.
of plague when you were 2? That's really sad.
Yeah, bummer.
Bummer, dude.
Brogyman. So, I also like how there are galleries, so that, people of the palace can come and just watch the suitor suit.
Yeah. It's just Suitors Olympics.
Who's gonna suit? You mean a roly-poly Mr. Pan?
He's always roly-poly.
He's rubbing on shoes.
Rubbing on shoes.
And when the princes had told their desperate loves and had departed away with no other spoil than of their own tears only, even then there came the unknown troubadours and told their tales in song, concealing their gracious names.
Oh my gosh, this is okay.
What?
I think that's just so weird. It's like these troubadours, like maybe they're princes.
Who knows?
Who knows?
And one there was, at Cronion, clothed with rags on which was the dust of roads, and underneath the rags was war-scarred armor. Cut the screen, let's go. War-scarred armor, whereon were the dents of blows. And when he stroked his harp and sang his song, in gallery above gallery maidens wept, and even the old lord's chamberlain whimpered among themselves, and thereafter laughed through their tears and said, "It is easy to make old people weep, and to bring idle tears from lazy girls."
Lazy girls, what?
I mean, they're just hanging out all day watching
okay,
suitors.
that's fair. I don't. I'll give them that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's a ton to be doing anyway, especially for women at the time, but like...
Go play a harp somewhere or something, I don't know.
"But he will not set a weeping, the queen of the woods." And graciously she nodded, and he was the last. The disconsolate went away, those dukes and princes, the troubadours in disguise. Yet Acronium pondered as he went away. King was he of Apharma, Lul, and Hath, overlord of Zarura and Hilly Chang, and duke of the dukedoms of Molong and Malash, none of them unfamiliar with romance, or unknown or overlooked in the making of myth. He pondered as he went in his thin disguise. Now, by those that do not remember their childhood, having other things to do, be it understood that underneath Fairyland, which is, as all men know, at the edge of the world, there dwelleth the gladsome beast, a synonym he for joy. It is known how the lark and in zenith, children at play out of doors, good witches and jolly old parents, have all been compared, and how aptly, with this very same gladsome beast. Only one crab he has, if I may use slang for a moment to make myself perfectly clear.
One crab.
Only one drawback, and that is that in the gladness of his heart he spoils the cabbages of the old man who looks after Fairyland. And of course,
My cabbages! They're spoiled by the gladsome beast.
And of course, he eats men.
Oh, okay.
It must further be understood that whoever may obtain the tears of the gladsome beast in a bowl and become drunken upon them may move all persons to shed tears of joy, so long as he remains inspired by the potion to sing or make music. Now, Acronion pondered in this wise, that if he could obtain the tears of the gladsome beast by means of his art, withholding him from violence by the spell of music, and if a friend should slay the gladsome beast before his weeping ceased, for an end must come to weeping even with men, that so he might get safe away with the tears, and drink them before the queen of the woods, and move her to tears of joy. He sought out, therefore, a humble knightly man who cared not for the beauty of Sylvia, queen of the woods, but had found a woodland maiden of his own once long ago in summer, and the man's name was Aroth, a subject of Acronion, a knight-at-arms of the Spear Guard, and together they set out through the fields of fable until they came to Fairyland, a kingdom sunning itself, as all men know, for leagues along the edges of the world. And by a strange old pathway they came to the land they sought, through a wind blowing up the pathway sheer from space, with a kind of metallic taste from the roving stars. Even so they came to the windy house of thatch, where dwells the old man who looks after Fairyland, sitting by parlor windows that look away from the world. He made them welcome in his starward parlor, telling them tales of space, and when they named to him their perilous quest, he said that it would be a charity to kill the gladsome beast, for he was clearly one of those that liked not its happy ways. and then he took them out through his back door, for the front door had no pathway, nor even a step. From it the old man used to empty his slops sheer on the southern cross. And so they came to the garden wherein his cabbages were, and those flowers that only blow in fairyland, turning their faces always towards the comet. And he pointed them out the way to the place he called underneath, where the gladsome beast had his lair. Then they maneuvered. Acronion was to go by the way of the steps with his harp and agate bowl, while a rath went round by a crag on the other side. Then the old man who looks after fairyland went back to his windy house, muttering angrily as he passed his cabbages, for he did not love the ways of the gladsome beast. And the two friends parted on their separate ways. Nothing perceived them but that ominous crow glutted overlong already upon the flesh of man. The wind blew bleak from the stars. At first there was dangerous climbing, and then Acronion gained the smooth broad steps that led from the edge of the lair, and at that moment heard at the top of the steps the continuous chuckles of the gladsome beast. He feared then that his mirth might be insuperable, not to be saddened by the most grievous song. Nevertheless, he did not turn back then, but softly climbed the stairs, placing the agate bowl upon the step, struck up the chaunt called Dolores.
Dolores.
O-U-S, I think it's that.
Okay.
It told of desolate, regretted things befallen happy cities long since in the prime of the world. It told of how the gods and beasts and men had long ago loved beautiful companions and long ago in vain. It told of the golden host of happy hopes, and not of their achieving. It told how love scorned death, but told of death's laughter. The contented chuckles of the gladsome beast suddenly ceased in his lair. He rose and shook himself. He was still unhappy. Acronion still sang on the chaunt called Dolores. The gladsome beast came mournfully up to him. Acronion ceased not for the sake of his panic, but still sang on. He sang of the malignity of time. 2 tears welled large in the eyes of the gladsome beast. Acronion moved the agate bowl to a suitable spot with his foot. They sang of autumn and of passing away. He sang of... then the beast wept as the furrowed hills weep in the thaw, and the tears splashed big into the agate bowl. Acronion desperately chaunted on. He told of the glad, unnoticed things men see and do not see again, of sunlight beheld unheeded on faces now withered away. The bowl was full. Acronion was desperate. The beast was so close. Once he thought that its mouth was watering, but it was only the tears that had run on the lips of the beast. He felt as a morsel. The beast was ceasing to weep. He sang of worlds that had disappointed the gods, and all of a sudden, crash! And the staunch spear of Arath went home behind the shoulder, and the tears and the joyful ways of the gladsome beast were ended and over forever. And carefully they carried the bowl of tears away, leaving the body of the gladsome beast as a change of diet for the ominous crow. And going by the windy house of thatch, they said farewell to the old man who looks after fairyland, who, when he heard of the deed, rubbed his large hands together and mumbled again and again, "And a very good thing, too. My cabbages! My cabbages!" It says that twice with exclamation points.
Oh my gosh.
My cabbages.
My cabbages.
My cabbages.
Dan's a little cabbages, and you look at him. This is a little cabbage.
My cabbage baby.
Little cabbage patch baby.
He was born from a cabbage.
No, he wasn't.
No. I
No.
found him out in the garden.
Why do you lie?
I peeled back leaves of a cabbage because I heard the mewling from within.
Oh my gosh.
And sitting inside the hem of the cabbage was my beautiful little babu, Mr. Panjamin. And he was rooted to the stem with his little tail.
No! Oh, and you plucked it too short, and that's why he's got such a stubby tail?
Yep.
Look at him. What are you doing?
Is he visible?
Only kind of. You can't see the full majesty of his belly.
And not long after, Cronion sang again in the sylvan palace of the Queen of the Woods, having first drunk all of the tears in his agate bowl. And it was a gala night, and all the court were there, and ambassadors from the lands of legend and myth, and even some from Terra Cognita. And Acronion sang as he never sang before, and will not sing again. Oh, but dolorous, dolorous are all the ways of man. Few and fierce are his days, and the in trouble, in vain, vain his endeavor. And woman, who shall tell of it? Her doom is written with man's by listless, careless gods with their faces to other spheres. Somewhat thus he began, and then inspiration seized him, and all the trouble and the beauty of his song may not be set down by me. There was much gladness in it, and all mingled with grief. It was like the way of man. It was like our destiny.
Okay.
Sobs arose, and his song, sighs, came back along echoes. Seneschals, soldiers, sobbed, and a clear cry made the maidens. Like rain, the tears came down from the gallery to gallery.
But not from the queen, or...
All round the Queen of the Woods was a storm of sobbing. That's a word.
Hmm.
Yep. That I combined from the two words that are printed here, sobbing and sorrow. A storm of sobbing and sorrow. But no, she would not weep.
Wow, she got like magic anti-weep abilities.
Cold as ice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the end. So
Was that was the end?
Yep, the end.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Oh, okay.
we get it.
Well, that was like perfect timing because I am also pretty much finished with this.
This is he felt as a morsel. I'm gonna have to turn that off. Oh, there he is. It's a gladsome beast. And I'm playing the harp.
It's like a big old raccoon rat thing.
Yeah. Big old handsome ratman.
Big old fat pan.
And there's the thatch house with the cabbages. That's the crow. Yeah, That's not where I thought it was going to go. I thought, like, she was going to cry that he had killed the beast. Because she liked laughing and hanging out and stuff. She's like, you killed the gladsome beast? That's messed up. But no, she just ain't got tears.
She just like got tears.
And that's the story. That's the story,
That's
Mr. Pan.
the story. And that's the stream.
Do you just close it now?
Well,
Do you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, we should probably say goodbye and stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Goodbye
Well,
and stuff. No,
Goodbye
okay.
and stuff. Thank you for watching.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Just go ahead and say all of our links again. You can follow me on that Twitter at Rainy Day Mariah. You can follow him on the Twitter at CS
Taylor.
Taylor.
TAYLOR _ CS.
Yeah. You can read my comic that I've been doing at rainydaydreams.mariahcurrey.com, and that's Curry with an EY because my name's weird. There's probably some reason for it. I don't know.
Well, because it's a courier, it's not a...
I don't know if that's the case. Couriers aren't spelled.
Not like somebody who carries, somebody who, like... It's a thing,
Who
I
makes
read about
curry?
it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's not a person who makes curry. Because it's...
Anyway,
it has
that's
a
not
different
important.
root word
You can
from
also
the food that's curry.
you can Patreon me at patreon.com/rainydaydreams. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I always forget.
Google search it.
I'm bad at plugs, I guess. Bad at doing my own
We'll
plugs.
put links in the description.
At least for YouTube. I don't really know how Twitch works. I know
you
that
can do it with Twitch,
the videos go away like you should. You should go away. Oh no, get off.
What?
Okay, goodbye. I'm hitting the stop.
Goodbye.
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 Goodbye. Goodbye.